Heading into the action for our first match of the day, it is the Paris Eternal versus the Washington Justice. And yeah, it's going to be a match where, again, our expectations, I think, are set where we're anticipating, I think, Washington across the board, as you can see from our analysts as well, their prediction that we just witnessed, that Washington are going to be the favorites in this match. But Paris have shown us some interesting looks, especially yesterday.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yesterday they got that opportunity to test out their strategies that they've been working on in scrims and see how they actually fare when it comes to a match. The Washington Justice haven't had that opportunity yet, Bren, and also, the Washington Justice are not this unkillable team that we've never seen be defeated. They are 4-0, but they did fall when it came to the main melee qualifiers, so they are mortal, they do bleed, and this Paris Eternal squad that they're fielding today will certainly be trying their best to get it there. It was interesting to see Dredro be fielded as well. This guy's pretty brand new, that's why he doesn't have a ranking with IBM Watson. We're still getting a feel of how good he's going to be.
Yeah, and it's I think a fantastic first showing from them, despite the fact, that it didn't come off too well. But off the back of that, they'll be looking to coming into this match with the Washington Justice, hopefully a little bit better off now as well. Let's take a look at the Washington Justice starting lineup, which their opposition that they're going to be taking a look at. And,
this one's interesting, right?
It is interesting because the desk was hyping up Decay to a reasonable degree, but if you take a look at the DPS duo, you see Assassin and Jerry is going to be the DPS duo that we're going to be fielded here today.
And this is my question for the Washington Justice throughout the June Joust. With Tracer out of the pool now, what is Decay's role on this team? We know that he's flexible. He's played everything in the past. He's played the Genji, even if you want to go towards the projectile roles. He's played the Hangzhou. He's played long-range hit for them as well. Widowmaker, he was fantastic for the Dallas Fuel. But what is his role? And how does he supplant Assassin or Jerry in this roster? Or are they just going to go with people who have specialized? We've already seen that Jerry can be excellent in long-range hitscan, and Assassin is fantastic at flex DPS picks. Are we seeing a true rotation here? I think a lot of people are going to have big questions about that because the team was built with Decay as one of the stars, but there's talent enough so that you don't always have to field him.
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of, I think, high hopes for Assassin coming into this season as well. This guy has played, a multitude of roles. He feels like almost like a bit of a niche player, but I believe as well in his wheelhouse is a very good Echo. We've seen a lot of Echo being played across the board so far in the meta, so that's going to be quite interesting. Presumably also going to be running Jerry on that long-range hit scan as well. But yeah, the Washington Justice, I think, we were expecting a true powerhouse team, and they definitely showed, as you said earlier, Josh, they are mortal, that they can bleed from the main melee tournament itself. And this is a team that I think we were expecting to be right up there with the very top, but the competition has been heightened over the course of moving into 2021 now. And even teams like Paris Eternal, despite the fact that we think that the Washington Justice are the favorites in this series, there's always that slight possibility that if they get caught slipping, you never know. It could be the win going away to Paris Eternal.
Oh, that's absolutely true. Now, the Washington Justice have not been bad by any means. 4-0 in the regular season, topping out as one of our top teams alongside the Houston Outlaws going into the main melee. It's just that they stumbled a little due to, I would say, the biggest problem for the Washington Justice, the biggest weakness for them was meta diversity, was the fact that they only looked to be a truly elite team with Mag on the Winston. Not necessarily just because of Mag, but the way the whole team likes to play. But coming out here on Ilios, this is the perfect map to play that Winston, play the Ashe, play the Echo, and just go for it. So what does Paris have to answer? I love this idea from Dan. Dan's Hog was amazing when they played on Eichenwald yesterday. So I love that they've got a counter-strat prepared already for Washington.
Fantastic answer, I think, when you're going up against some of the very best Winstons in the world, as to try and shut them down. The threat of having the hook and everything else that Hog provides can be a great deterrent for the Winston trying to get value, trying to jump in. You can see it's pretty slow going, I think, with these compositions. Both teams just looking for an opening and just trying to slowly take space around the map. The point is unlocked, so that's going to be making both teams, I think, feel a bit of pressure now to start fighting over. You can see the initiation comes in now from Washington, but what a hook! And Dan pulled him right into the rest of the team. The shield bash into it as well. It's a quick little two-piece for them. And holding the positioning as well to deny the res. And that's a stagger kill at the end as well. So the point will be going to the Paris Eternal early on here, coming out with some lovely, lovely composition switches here, or at least to try and counteract what the Washington Justice will run.
definitely, and you can see there, I mean, Dan hit a really good shot onto the Echo, but even if he doesn't, he has targets on the floor, like Mac, that he can try to go for. Also, we've already seen so far 2 gorgeous sleep darts by Khan, who I would consider to be the star player yesterday for the Paris Eternal, so we'll see whether that continues.
Yeah, absolutely. This guy was popping off the entire time. You can see a lot of spam damage coming in from Naga. Just offering this onto the side. Onigod as well. He's going to use the Deadeye here. He's going to try and push them out of position, and that was the whole hog comboed into it. Pushing them right into the line of sight.
Great play.
And that is instantly going to be a teamfight win once again for the Paris Eternal.
Paris look good. They are clearly prepared. They have great ideas of what they want to do. That whole hog comboed into a Deadeye is a great idea again. And Washington are giving them enough space to set up these win conditions for their composition. Washington don't really have a comp that wants to play really fast and aggressive in your face, despite the fact they're running the Winston and the Echo. It's not a full rush dive kind of composition with the Moira Lucio. So maybe a tempo change needs to come in here for Washington. Oh, that's a brutal first death. Can they get the res?
Yeah, they're going to be trying to deny this one. Oh my goodness. Naga's just getting punished so hard here. The res does get off, so Assassin will be back in the fight. And that pocket does make it a lot easier for Assassin to try and win out a lot of the 1v1s they might be taking. The duplicate being used here by Naga. It's got about a couple of seconds left on this one. We'll be sending in the South Destruct. A huge Bionade is going to be connecting onto almost the entirety of the Paris Eternal. That's going to be forcing them back. It gets them low enough here into the team fight that Khan will fall. And Assassin with the beam going to be shredding through them still. Naga's alive and a bit of a threat in the backline. Takes down closer, and now he's going to be making his mark known here as Jerry will be falling also. These kills, despite the point being flipped over early enough to the Washington Justice, it looks like the team fight might be going the way of the Paris Eternal yet.
It's so hard to tell, actually. This fight is incredibly scrappy. Dreamjo just got a whip shot off the side on Fury and denies Mac. So they do flip the point back over to Paris. You were right, Brent. It was going their way. That was really close. Assassin duplicated Khan and hit a 4-man Bionade and then was able to finish off a kill with the stickies. But really, it's Naga, the Echo on the other side, that turns the fight in Paris' favor. And this is final fight territory for Washington.
Yup, 99% the overtime's going. South Destruct had to be committed by Fury here just to stay back into the fight. South Destruct goes over. Oh my goodness, Assassin's been caught out. Is anybody even going to be able to touch this? No.
Whole
Not
hog
able
in the
to.
back, Brent.
Yet a whole hog of Dawn.
Again, phenomenal stuff from Paris on this opening map. And this is the advantage, I think, Bren, of having had an extra match to figure out how the meta works. Remember that Washington, they've only been playing scrims up until this point. And we have talked so much this season about how scrims are not the same as matches. People play all sorts of different stuff. You don't get to properly test out whether your compositions are going to work in a match environment. Paris already had that opportunity. They figured out that their best map coming away from that was when Dan was able to play Hog on Eichenwald, and they've come out with a great plan here. It's not just Dan, it's how the whole team is playing around that setup, and the space it gives them because they've slowed down the tempo.
That's so smart as well. One of the biggest deterrents, I think, to what Paris are running might be, for example, the Zenyatta, but not able to be played. You know, you don't have that Discord Orb to slap onto the Hog to just kind of mark him the entire time.
Sure.
Really playing into the benefits, I think, to the hero pool.
Or a Sombra.
Of course, yeah,
Hog,
yeah.
Turning him into an
Pulse
ult
time.
bank. Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Interesting. Custer had a hot take yesterday. I think it was his bold prediction, where he was saying that he believed Hog would get played more as we went throughout the June Joust. So far, we haven't really seen that many games of the June Joust, and from what we have seen over in APAC, most of those teams were not interested in playing it. It was very much Winston being played, the Ana Mercy backline, the same kind of stuff that Washington is playing right now. And so I'm so intrigued to find out how viable this Hog main tank strategy is. Paris Eternal, we saw them run a Zarya Diva in their Anubis game yesterday as well for a team fight that they actually managed to turn around in their favor. So I don't think it's accurate to say right now that the meta is solved. Nevertheless, early days, and this may be a bit of a flash in the pan that Washington Justice are able to adapt to.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we're only in map 1 of the series, but adaptability is one of the keys to success early on in a meta, and it's something that we saw kind of, maybe not the adaptability side, but definitely kind of trying to play multiple different metas was something that Washington did struggle with. But I'll tell you who hasn't been struggling, Khan. This guy, in his game yesterday, was ridiculous on Ana. I mean, he was setting his team up for so much success with his Bionades.
Yes, Khan to me is the key player for the Paris Eternal. He looks like their best individual, and the offensive way in which he plays is really the key thing that's being highlighted by these stats. It's not about hero damage, obviously, but it's also, for Khan, not that much about healing done. It's about getting those biotic grenades deep into enemy territory and creating win conditions for his team in team fights.
Certainly is. Let's head back into the action. The teams are ready. We can begin as well the second round of this match. Khan, I mean, he's been such a big impact. We'll see if he can keep it going as well. Still playing the Ana, of course, as well for his team. And you can see the way the Paris are playing right now, just holding this positioning, and the threat of the Roadhog hook is so much that it really does force Washington to have to be very careful in how they engage. But look at that Sleep Dart into the Bionade. Might be able to connect this kill. Dart is so low eventually. It's going to be taken down there by the tri-shot. But evened out, Naga took that opportunity with the Mercy pocket on him to take out Jerry, and the point again flips over to the Paris Eternal early in this round, but Washington still want to continue to fight this.
They're gonna, oh, I thought they were gonna be able to flip that over. Okay, they do in the end, and Dan has actually made the swap to ball. Probably because he thought that fight was winnable and turnable if he got back quick enough. But now how are they gonna play with a ball in the front line? He got slept by Bebe. Bebe has just been a nightmare for Dan in this round so far. The Bionade and the sleeps have been his doom.
You see Magra's ready there.
They're
Ready and waiting,
around,
chasing it down. They are trying to turn this around, and look at the kills they've gotten, including the res onto Dan. And while Mag was trying to chase down the backline, remove the Widowmaker from the fight, it's all up to the Paris Eternal, and they win the fight when it was happening in the front line.
Yeah, I mean, that to me just seems like almost arrogance from the Washington Justice. As soon as they got the pick on Dan, they just assumed the team fight was won, and Mag was like, oh, well, okay, we'll press our advantage and try and clean up some stragglers. And instead, Paris, they got the res, and they committed fully to the fight. With no main tank for the Washington Justice, they couldn't do anything there. That is a big fumble for Justice.
Yeah, well, should have been a win for them. The Nano Boost being applied, you can see the beam as well. And now only to just deny up the Resurrect, if possible. Naga's trying to collect the second kill. The sticky bombs will do the work, though. This guy is an absolute savage on the backlines right now. Look at him go! He's trying to move over to the Ana now. Changing up the roles a little bit. And we'll see if he can get the heals out onto his team. Jerijo will fall in the end, just trying to peel for the rest of them. Another big Bionade. Connects onto Bebe, the Nano Boost, and we see another pause, interrupting the flow of the fight. But, I mean, this is looking... I don't know, these individual plays coming out from the Paris Eternal really just changing the tide of every single fight, it feels. But obviously this team fight's not over by any stretch of the imagination.
No, it's not. And this is an unusual time for a pause as well, so there must be some serious issue going on over in the, I assume the Paris Eternal camp. So hopefully we'll get that figured out. But for me, it's so scrappy from, and also the Washington Justice don't feel like they have a good way of turning up the tempo. And what I mean by that is that they're giving Paris Eternal too much time to be able to get access to their win conditions, which is their Echo finding a pick, their Widowmaker finding a pick, Dan finding a hook if he's playing Roadhog. The faster you can play against this composition, the better. And instead, Washington are holding back quite a lot and ending up with always on the back foot, always reacting.
You can see ultimates now being committed here by Justice. They're trying to turn this fight once again in their favor. Fury with the D-Mech. South Shot comes through, doesn't die to the remech. Had to dodge that one. And definitely the fight will be moving their way now with the amount that they've committed into it. Still the point in control, though. Dan's going to try and just get a couple of extra seconds. It is being flipped over, though, momentarily. And Washington will be now defending this point from now on.
They used every ultimate that they had access to flip that over. So we're still in a pretty decent position for the Paris Eternal. Onigod moves over to McCree, which is going to give them a bit of more access to punish Assassin and help with the Echo duel. Maybe a bit more damage onto Mag as well. But they're still committing to this ball, and minefields are really the only thing that Paris has access to either.
Well, Onigod goes down early into this fight. Can he deny the res? Dredros might be trying to go for it, but Jerry actually takes him out, so no Resurrect available then to reset this fight. And once again, Washington are like, well, we got the 2 picks. Not going to overstep themselves this time around, just going to keep holding and cementing their forward position.
The ball is weird because you don't have anybody to really combo with. You're not going to combo with the Echo particularly. And Onigod is really left on an island. He doesn't have that backline to be able to escort him in properly. And the Mercy wants to be sat with the Echo most of the time rather than pocketing him anyway.
Oh, the reactive play coming through to boop into it. Another Nano Boost with the damage boost applied onto Naga, and look at it, it's just easy work for him, like a hot knife through butter. just cleaving through multiple members of the Washington Justice now. They're just trying to peel back, potentially buy some time, but Closer gets caught out there, trying to fly back to the rest of his team, but not able to do so. Naga's still just putting in so much work. Yeah,
he is
just a
doing
tremendous amount of
amounts
damage.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Assassin's been forced to duplicate the Ana as well. He gets Khan out of the fight with the help of Fury and then duplicates it himself. But again, my eyes are on Naga. He's been able to do so much for this team.
It's all up to Washington Justice now to try and take the pace of this game into their own hands. The Sleep Dart is going to take out Naga again. The duplicate's not going to be doing too much. Bob onto the point just to try and contest and flip it over, but the Self-Destruct will remove him. Now it's time for the Primal Rage on one side of things. The duplicate will be taken out though. Naga on 100 health, just trying to remove Mag if possible. The overtime is ticking. Only got falls, but they do get a res off on either side now. So an even fight, but Washington do not want to give this one up just yet. This is the map on the line. They have to put it all out now. Assassin going to be duplicating over to the Diva. Has built up the Self-Destruct early enough. Just trying to shut down the Echo combo. Self-Destruct going to be going straight up onto the point to try and clear them away. Naga goes down. Once more removing some of that staple damage that the Powers Eternal were relying on, and they're unable to touch the point. So will be the round going to the Washington Justice, but how close was that?
Insanely close, Bren, but that was the same story yesterday when Paris played against the Toronto Defiant. Both rounds of control. When they played on Busan, 99 to 100 losses. Too close is not close enough. You've got to be able to get it over the line. And Paris were in control of that map for basically the vast majority of it. Yeah, you might be able to give them a bit of a pass because there was pauses thrown in there that ruined their momentum. But I need to see the quality to be able to close out these rounds. Paris can't be going 1-0 up and then throwing it away. In order to get those wins on the board, in order to turn that 1-4 match record into a 4-1, similar to Washington's, you actually have to be able to close out these rounds.
We'll see if they're capable of doing so. We're going to see Wrecking Ball on either side. So a bit of a switch up here. And Mag's going to be trying to set up something. And maybe this is the switch up of pace they needed. Something to also, I suppose, contest the Widowmakers. But the Sleep Dart into the back line. Missing the headshot, but they've got more than enough damage to try and deal with Mag.
That's Khan again.
An unusual mistake coming out from Mag. And yeah, Khan putting up some fantastic performances on the Ana once again.
Yeah, the Sleep Dart, the Bionade, nothing that Mag can do if he gets hit by one of those. He just has to try and make his mobility as unpredictable as possible. That's given Paris control of the point early on, as usual here. And another big Bionade, this time onto Mag, and Onigod with a headshot. If Onigod starts turning up here on the Widowmaker and is able to outperform Jerry, all parts of Paris are outperforming their counterparts. Khan is playing better than Bebe. Naga is getting more value than Assassin. If Onigod steps up as well, this could be a devastating round. Washington need a reply.
You remember back when Takei was playing on Dallas, and there was that period where he just wasn't playing games for them. Onigod was the one who had to step up on ping. Yeah. This guy playing roles he was quite uncomfortable with. Widowmaker at the time was one of them. But he was doing more than a serviceable job for Dallas at the time. And here he is, playing against Takei's team here, putting up an unreal performance. You can see the pressure they're applying again. Bebe will get caught out. The Bionade as well. Dan going to be forcing that one. Self-Destruct has to get used to the backline. That's Naga with the remake kill! We've finally seen it. There it is. Oh my word. And the Powers Eternal, I mean, it doesn't even look difficult for them right now, Josh. It just feels like they are just rolling over the Washington Justice.
That's an incredible play. That's an amazing capstone for Naga. As long as they're able to close out this round, that is going to be the highlight, because Naga's put in so much work on Echo so far in the whole of Ilios, and he gets a duplicate onto Fury and then crushes the Mercy. 250 damage after the most recent buff.
Yep, Nanoboost is committed onto Naga to try and keep him alive. The kills might be going away of the Washington Justice. They do have two early on, but are traded out, and now the res onto Khan, unable to be denied. See in the backline as well, Jerry once more the tank line of Paris, doing such a good job of shutting him down. Coordinating their approach every single time. The beam from afar, that's going to be the D-Mech, so Fury not going to be getting access into this fight. The mines might be enough to try and stall this over, at least get some bodies onto the point for Washington to get this overtime going, but this could be the map.
It certainly looks like it, Bren. The overtime is ticking down now as well. It's a desperate attempt from Assassin as he duplicates Elevote and tries to get into the backlines. Can he do what Naga was able to do? He's trying to go for it. No, he gets taken out of duplicate just in time.
You can see the damage being done, though. Look at that power driver into the Bionade. Washington might be able to turn this. They denied a res. Drijo not going to be getting away with that one. This whole time, Naga has been getting away with a bit of murder with the duplicate still. It feels like Washington might just have enough bodies to try and turn this around, but as I say that, Naga winning out that kill. Not unfortunately enough to turn the fight in the process, so the Paris Eternal will get it to 99%. Justice finally capturing the point in this round.
Big recovery in that team fight from the Washington Justice. And now, all eyes are on the Paris Eternal. Like I said, Brent, yesterday against the Toronto Defiant, every round was close, 99-0, but they lost them. If they go up 99 right now, 99-0, and they end up losing this, it's going to be a pattern that's extremely worrying. Paris need to be able to put the tools together to close this round out.
See the pressure being applied to Jerry, the power driver. A quick damage boosted shot will remove Onigod. Paris are just trying to find a footing here. They're just trying to get into the point.
They struggle when pressure is applied, Brent, I think. Yeah, I think that when Mag's getting these pile drives on them and they're struggling to deal with them, this is where Paris end up crumbling a little bit. And this is the difference between the Paris Eternal and Washington Justice. You kind of believe that Washington might be able to bring this one back.
Well, Assassin is going to fall. That is very good, and look at that. Nanaboost onto Naga. They do this so often. It feels like way more than a lot of other teams, but investing so many resources into their star DPS. South Destruct the last-ditch effort. The res is going to come off now, so Bebe back into the fight. Now Mag wants to try and turn it with the mines. It's going to stop them from pressing forwards, but Naga is still collecting kills. He's got so much work done. The support line for Washington Justice is gone. It's down and out. And I believe that was a nano boost applied to Fury when he was in the Baby Diva form. So that's completely wasted in the fight. Once again, the remake comes through, but he will be taken out. And Naga with the duplicate now. Only a couple of players left standing for Washington. They're just trying to salvage this fight in whatever way they possibly can.
But if Khan dies here, Brent, this is a disaster for them. He just stays alive. That is so close. Well played by Drijo and Naga, actually, there to be able to peel for him. And it looks like Paris might have done enough.
Overtime's ticking, and Washington going to be able to touch the point? No, but it touches. And it's going to be the Paris Eternal winning map number 1 in this series against the Washington Justice. And I said it before we began, the Washington Justice are a good team, but they are mortal. They can bleed. The Paris Eternal proving that early on in this series.
Great strategy from Paris the entire time. I can't fault them in the slightest. They hard pocketed Naga, and they had an interesting strategy revolving around Dan playing Hog and playing Ball to be disruptive against what Washington wanted to do. The player of that map, in my opinion, Naga though, some amazing plays.
Yeah, unreal stuff. And we're going to be finding out just how far the Paris Eternal can really take it in this series after the break, or if the Washington Justice are going to be able to pull up the bootstraps and get back into the action. Here's that remake kill. Just
Thank you,
take
Aaron
it in.
Keller.
Take it all in. Oh, man.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile. And by Indeed, we help people get jobs. The Overwatch League is brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official refreshment of the Overwatch League, and by IBM, the official cloud and AI partner of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Overwatch League, and here's our Indeed player resume, this time featuring Fury, our 2018 League champion, on top of numerous other accomplishments. This guy has always been, honestly, just a cornerstone of any team that he's been a part of.
Absolutely. One of the best off-tanks of all time. He's been a DPS player in the past as well, so we know that he's extraordinarily flexible too. And yeah, one of the big reasons that the Washington Justice is so highly rated coming into this season and talked about as being perhaps even a bit of a super team when it comes to their tanks and their DPS in particular. But at the end of the day, Brent, honestly, the biggest play from Fury in that map was that he got his mech stolen by Naga.
Yeah, I mean...
And yeah, that guy was playing like a bit of a freak here. He has set and broken the single map record for final blows on Ilios.
Yes, Naga, this guy coming into this match. I mean, I think I speak for most people in terms of the expectations of this match being pretty low, but Naga comes in, the resources are invested into him, the damage boost, the nano boost, and look at him go, 25 final blows. That's a map record for Ilios. Unreal stuff coming out from this Paris Eternal squad. It's not bad at all.
Not bad at all. No, he's and remember actually that this is with the nerf to Echo. So Echo returns to her previous health or 100 after duplicate. So when she comes out of the duplicate, she is in a lot of situations more vulnerable. And yet Naga's just going around there with Mercy permanently attached to him, Dredro already fulfilling his role on the Paris Eternal, and occasionally with Nano Boost as well from Khan. And he's just been destroying.
Yeah, let's take a look at the map leaderboard presented by Xfinity. As you can see, our tie-in for this one was actually the Washington Justice. They're on the losing end here against the Shock when the best time back ever was completed against them. 4 minutes 53 seconds. Now,
yeah, Brent, remind me, how similar was that team to this one?
Not really at all, but you know,
okay,
maybe we're speaking some parallels into it.
Okay, right. I see where you're going with this too. Well, I think Paris have got a bit of a task on their hands here though too, because this is a map that should, in theory, favor Washington's style of play. Paris were able to throw a bunch of curveballs into Washington in terms of knocking them off their tempo, being able to set up Onigot and Naga, especially Naga, for these enormous moments. Because Dan wasn't really opting into the Winston v Winston. He was opting into trying to disrupt them at all occasions, whether that be playing the Hog or the Ball, and that is a crucial part of their strategy. So I want to see Paris, again, not opt into the mirror here, because then you're just playing to Washington Justice's strengths. So I love the fact that they've come out here on a double shield composition. That's going to force Washington to adapt.
Yeah, and we're going to see if the Paris Eternal can keep that kind of tempo that they were showcasing in that previous map going. And the Justice, they are going to be running. This is a comp that we've seen a lot by these teams. The Reaper, the Winston, the Rush with the Moira Lucio.
I like this. The Washington Justice were really struggling playing that slower paced game. So if you can just turn the tempo up and run over Paris Eternal, I love the idea. A nice adaptation.
And they've taken the high ground away from them. Look at this rotation all the way. Very quick. Not taking any damage in the process as well, which is what Paris are really trying to do. They're trying to just put in that spam damage, build up some of those key ultimates like the Am Matrix, and they're just waiting for the cooldowns to come back up. There we go. Like, okay, we got speed boost, let's go. Immediately diving into them. Mortality Field will come out in time, just about keeping Khan alive, but the damage, it is immense. Look at that, the sticky bombs into the beam. Naga going to be answering back one of his own. There's still a lot of damage being done to them still. Onigod alive, peppering them from the side. Naga as well. No one's really been dealing with him in the sky whatsoever. And Washington looking a little bit lost in the process. The Coalescence is committed, but it's just going to mean that Paris disengage away from it.
That is a really late Coalescence to be using into that fight. You would like that right now as you engage. And instead they're going in kind of dry. This is all on Mag. If he can get these Primal Rage kills, they'll have been saved.
What a boop! Oh my goodness! That's all closer. Holy moly. I mean, all eyes were on Mag with the Primal Rage, and yeah, he's going to be doing quite a bit of work, but Paris Eternal overstepping themselves ever so slightly towards the edge of Numbani, and yeah, that's going to be a quick checkpoint A.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do when Mag is punching you towards the edge, and then Closer takes the alley-oop and boops you off the cliff? Really great idea there for Washington, though. I thought that they'd thrown it away when they used the call too late in the previous fight. Let's take a look at this from Closer's POV. Mag's just knocking him towards the edge. Closer, yep, thank you.
Yeah, and honestly as well, I don't think that Naga would have intended to try and duplicate the Moira in that situation. Not really getting too much value out of it. Look, the fight doesn't stop here. That's going to be the soundbar I used, and that Deadeye through the amplification matrix though on Onigod will remove Mag from the fight. Takes him out. I'll be missing the main tank now, so the Washington Justice just forced back. They don't want to be taking this team fight. Far too disadvantageous for them. Onigod on the flank here. Just getting 3 shots off onto Assassin.
That's a good pick because otherwise Washington Justice were just trying to wait out the rally armor and then push back in. And now they're going to have to wait for the respawn as well. So they're actually going to line up at pretty similar times. But also pay attention to the fact that Paris Eternal have shifted their comp here. They're going for the Hog and the Diva again. So Dan making this move over to try and disrupt Mag, make it more difficult for him to get these hardcore dives into the backline.
Bebe on the Ana now. The sleep dart, that's paying off immediately. And they've caught him out. Are they going to be able to collect this kill? The peel is very good from Paris. The Immortality Field is also committed. It's a lot of damage being invested, but not too many kills going away of Washington Justice. Way too defensive coming out from the rest of his team, helping him out there. The hook comes through, and that's just pulled Naga into position to be taken out by Jerry in the end. Assassin still active on the map as well. The damage that he's putting out. Triforce the sticky bombs. Tri-shot, I should say.
That would be a little more powerful, I think, if you had access to the entirety of that. Yeah, what I like there, though, is that they invested so much of their resources to kill Dan, and then Paris were forced to invest a ton of resources to keep him alive as well. But Washington always pushed forwards. They were always still taking positioning.
You can see Jerry's going to be using up Death Blossom! Oh my goodness, the setup there. And the Immortality Field was there as well, but the Death Blossom damage way too strong. Not able to overcome that. The fight's not over, obviously. Naga now with the Death Blossom of his own. He has taken out Bebe, and now out of the duplicate form. Dan might be turning this with the help of them as well. Fury does take him out, the South District to push them away. Washington can't really be playing this one, but Mag! Oh my goodness, the Primal Rage comes through, and he just about captures it for his team. And yet, we do see that remake kill, but at the end of the day, the point is going to be going to the Washington Justice here, so the cart will steadily move forward with those forward spawns unlocked.
What a crazy fight! Bebe's made the swap over to Ana so that he has that sleep in the Bionade to be able to deal with Dan. And then we saw the nano-boosted Death Blossom, a Death Blossom duplicate to respond with. The incredible core mech kill again. But okay, time to take a deep breath. Paris Eternal, now they have to defend point C. And it looks like they want to do that from the high ground.
Going for a high ground approach. This is very interesting. Trying to deny it away from Washington. Flashbang into the sticky bombs. Onigod gets the final blow in the end, and now has control of the high ground. It's going to be dropping off, though, as team. They realize that they've pretty much won this fight. Just get a couple of stagger kills off the back of this one here. So Paris still putting up a very reasonable defense.
Oh, very good. Yeah, there's still 3 minutes in the time bank, which is great for the Washington Justice. But Paris are going to be able to hold on here. And the more that they can dominate this high ground, the better it's going to be. It's very difficult for Washington's composition to be able to get deep onto somebody when they have to go through so many tiny door frames. It just creates natural choke points for Paris to play around. Look at this long rotation as well from Washington. Yeah. They really want to try and push Paris away.
Yeah, they obviously they don't want to be taking these open angles when they're rotating, just in case they get hooked or, you know, shot out of the sky by Onigod. And the threat is always there, but now a nano boost for Bebe. I want to see how they use this one in this next fight. This upcoming for Onigod with the flank. No, you can't be doing this to them.
Are they going for the Deadeye Hole Hog again?
Possibly. I mean, he's trying to set it up, and look at the positioning that's been forced by them. The tanks are looking in 2 directions at once, and the Washington Justice, I mean, they're just split apart into 2 different directions. They don't really know how to approach the fight when Onigod's making those flank plays.
It's a really nice play by him. I mean, in theory, what Washington should be trying to do, I think, is go backwards as quickly as they can to get the kill on Onigod and then take the fight 6v5. But making those fast-paced decisions when you've spent 30 seconds rotating to get into a nice place around the payload, that feels devastating to have to make a decision like that. And instead they get pincered, just attacked from all sides. More so than anything, though, great decision-making by Onigod. He loves going for these flank plays, and it actually ended up punishing Paris Eternal in the main melee, because it wasn't really a meta where you could do that as much. This feels like a meta where his style is really good.
Washington taking catch again. There's a massive wraparound, and yeah, they could catch Onigod if they have a good read on this.
He's on the left. No, they haven't seen him. He's ducked behind the tree.
Oh my god, he's hidden right behind. But they're going to be trying to dive onto him now, surely. Look at this. Immediately going to be trying to punish that.
That's what you have to do.
And Paris used a whole hog in response as well to try and at least get a kill out of it. Assassin will fall. And now the wraparound once again. Soundbar are going to be using just to try and lead this one in. A bit of extra health maybe. Yeah, Khan falls. Maybe get the D-Mech as well on top of that one. But Elevo going to be backing off. Oh goodness me, the TP. Okay. Yep, backing away from that one. Mag ends up committing the Primal Rage on top of that as well, just to try and find any sort of value in this fight. But again, Paris doing a wonderful job of trying to stall this one out. This card has not moved much, and there's only 30 seconds left.
Because Washington Justice stays so grouped up, they find it difficult to root every individual player from the Paris Eternal out. It's like guerrilla warfare,
oh, wow. Look
except without the monkey.
Yeah. Oh, but they do a fantastic job of jumping onto the back line of Paris Eternal. All this is going on. The Washington Justice are finding all the picks they need here. The Paris Eternal recognizing they were playing very split up. Will they be able to finish with a bit of time? They do. 6 seconds. Could be a difference maker.
That could be crucial. It really could, yeah. The Paris Eternal there had a good idea. I think it's just one of those flaws with their composition. When you play the hog comms, you're not really taking clean team fights. Like I said, it's a bit more, it's very scrappy, and you're just trying to create as many flank angles as possible, as many threats all around the map, and Washington have to path together to deal with each of the threats one by one. It's slow for them, and they can't really play the payload at the same time. So Paris played the beginning portion of their point C defense nicely, but after they got cleaned up, they just couldn't find a way to regroup and take another even fight towards the very end. Still, nevertheless, a decent and winnable position for Paris to be in here, and they're already 1-0 up in the series.
Ready for battle.
I'll tell you what else is slow on top of that, Josh. My brain trying to figure out how the monkey related to guerrilla warfare, and then I understood it in the middle of the team fight, and you really threw me for a loop, I'm not going to lie. You really threw me for a loop, and then I realized that it was a pun, and my brain is operating at 20%. Battery saving mode.
We won't get into the Greek mythology quiz that I had planned then. Because,
we could.
I loved it so much yesterday, I was going to hit you with some interesting facts. We'll see where the series goes.
Yeah, of course, because there's still a map to be played, and depending on the direction of it, might have to pull that one out. Depends if there's another pause, actually. Perfect time for it.
That definitely is. All right, what have we got here then? It's not a double shield defense for the Washington Justice, but it's somewhat similar. It's still an echo and a long-range damage, but you're not playing it with like a Brig and a BAP. It's a Merciana backline, so this is a really unusual blend of a couple of different compositions here. It feels like Mag is going to be isolated, but I'm not sure. This is unusual, what both teams are running.
Yeah, Mag's just kind of holding down the high ground on his lonesome. I mean, I suppose there's a lot of targets like Assassin and Fury can instantly zip up there with him. But look at this, Dan's trying to set up a position by rolling into the back line.
Oh, they've spotted Khan on the low ground.
Okay, yeah, that's a great coordinated dive attempt. Removing Jerry from the fight, Bebe as well. I mean, Close is still up if they wanted to try and get a res off, but those 2 picks is going to be leading with a massive advantage now for Paris still. Hunting for a couple of more because the fight is not over by any means. Almost getting the D-Mech here onto Fury. A lot of excess damage. The arrow's being pumped out by Onigod here. Another great power driver. Dan is doing a great job of trying to set up his team, and Closer will fall, and that is the Paris Eternal. Surely that's enough kills going their way now. At this point, yeah, probably going to be flipping over in their favor.
They did a good job of setting up to be in decent positions to begin that. Dan got behind, and they timed his pile drive and his dive with Khan getting a Bionade off. And even though Khan gave his life for it, that opening was all they needed to be able to take the best positions on the map, take the high grounds, and slowly squeeze the Washington Justice out. And now now the Paris Eternal have forced Mag and Fury to swap over to playing the Ball Diva comp. They're pretty much playing a mirror right now, which that's got to favor Paris, I think.
We the people, Paris, very strong labor laws. Some correlation there.
Yeah.
Well, Paris are going to try and take this team fight now at a corner. And a couple of ults available to them. That is the classic combo that we have seen so often in this series. The damage boost, the nano boost, it's all being committed. Nice defense matrix going to be keeping Jerry up for a little while, but yeah, Dan is going to be rolling through him, sending him off the edge in the end. Duplicate still active, obviously, so even if Naga does get taken out, he's in a good position. And look at this, Deadeye on top of it, the DMEC comes through. 4 minutes remaining, this card does not seem to be stopping.
Echo is an absurd hero. Absolutely absurd.
Yeah.
If you pocket her like that, she just becomes an unkillable freak that has an enormous amount of damage. You can't get rid of her because she has duplicate up, and then she has 2 Deadeyes to work with as well. That was brutal to watch, and that's one of the reasons why Naga was setting records on the prior map.
The Dragon Strike to push the positioning away. Fury was trying to initiate in. Just as found their opening, actually. Assassin moving into the backline. Naga and Dredro going down. Has a duplicate of himself, but with those 2 picks, I don't think he's going to need it. The beam down of Dan as well. So that was looking almost like a great setup there from the Paris Eternal. He had a good read of how to stop that re-engage coming out from Washington, I should say, with the Dragon Strike trying to cut straight through them. But ultimately, Washington holding on now with 3 minutes, I believe.
And look at this, it's a nano boost applied here to Assassin that allows him to take the 1v2 against the Mercy Echo on the other side. And those are some clean shots. It's mostly been Naga getting the better end of that Echo duel, but that time Assassin just came out and clapped.
And it's so much burst damage. One misstep, one mistake, and you may just screw it up. I mean, it's very cooldown dependent. You've got to be hitting your shots if you're getting the resources invested into you. This is an aggressive approach here by Washington, but it looks like it might be favorable for them. Rolling through, stealing the Mega Health Pack as well. Mag's still alive, and he's forced the supports into a outward position. Still trying to control up the point. Elevode as well slept up in the back. Might be the DMEC onto him. Deadeye from Jerry.
Okay.
Just going to cancel that one. Yeah,
I think
it's a little bit all over the place.
I think they were trying to boop Elevode into the Deadeye so that they could stagger the mech there, and instead this has gone very weird.
What? That was so coordinated. It was almost like a set play. The ult's coming into effect. And Naga, yep, he's still got the damage. Obviously, that beam is going to be taken care of closer. That was, I thought for a second that my feed had frozen, because that was all at the same time. That was crazy.
Oh yeah, that was a glorious play by the Paris Eternal, but also Washington tried to respond to it at the exact same time. They nano-boosted Assassin, who ended up falling down. So they just lost 2 players that were right in the middle of that self-destruct as it came through. They were not prepared for that in the slightest, partly because they hadn't managed to get that stagger kill on Elevode. That directly hurts them there.
Changing position.
We see, look at Naga as well. He's set up in position. He has a duplicate, so he knows he can play aggressive on the flank. He's actually going to be opting to use it early here. Possibly scared of getting bursted down. Now just has to hit a couple of the shots on the side. Not getting too much value out of it, because look at the peel coming out from Fury. It's great. Eating up a ton of that damage. A sleep dart on top of it. Yeah, honestly, Naga not getting too much done. Taking out a duplicate eventually, though. The fight continues as this is all going on. Washington were taking the fight in the front line, pushing forwards now. They've got 1 pick onto Onigo. They want to press the advantage once more. It's all up to Assassin as well. He's got the duplicated McCree. We've seen if he can hit a couple of these shots. Deadeye available, ready and waiting. That is going to connect onto Khan, and that should stop them where they stand.
Pretty perfectly timed there, just as the defense matrix disappeared from Elevode too. And Washington, they're going to be able to stabilize. Both of these teams have decided to make the swap over to playing Orisa Diva, which isn't a comp that we've seen get run so far in the June Joust that much. But both teams opting into it right now in kind of implies that this has been something that teams have been trying out in scrims for much slower, more difficult areas of the map to push, like Numbani C.
And it's going to be the big loop wraparound here for Paris. You can see why this section is so difficult to try and push into. It kind of staves off a lot of time on the clock just trying to set yourselves up into good positions like Paris are trying to do here. It's a lot of rotating around, trying to catch a player off guard. Washington have got a ton of ult to try and push off the Paris' push attempts, but here we go, another nano boost being applied. Onto Naga once again, but he actually ends up missing the shots, and they were ready for it. Jerry, oh my goodness, and Fury on top of that. That's a lovely little self-destruct to set up the two-piece. That fight instantly going to be over.
Fantastic preparation from Washington Justice. As soon as Paris Eternal went for that nano boost, they knew. They've been playing against Paris so far, and they know what's coming at them. It's a nano boosted Echo with a duplicate. So instead, they pop the Deadeye, they throw in the self-destruct, and they just zone out that entire area. There was nowhere that Naga was able to go. And now Paris, they're going to have to change things up because these hard kind of set plays are getting read by Washington. Now they're going to have to fight both teams with a supercharge.
Jerry, what? Okay, yeah. Couple of shots there onto Drijo. I mean, that is so difficult to try and hit. But one of the best pickoffs you could possibly have gotten in that scenario because the Paris Eternal, I mean, it feels like they're just, okay, opening themselves up a little bit here, but 20 seconds remaining. This is going to be the last-ditch effort here with this push.
They have some fantastic ultimates to work with. They've got that supercharger and the duplicate. Onigo can get in a good position, and they have Immortality Field to keep them alive as well. Comes down to Assassin. If the Washington Justice want to close it out right here.
Oh, yeah, Naga's just mistimed his cooldowns ever so slightly, so he's ended up wasting the beam. The duplicate comes through just to try and at least demech here, but yeah, over time, someone needs to touch this point! Oh my goodness, Naga just about gets onto it. Trying to keep this one going, has the South Destruct obviously available. A bit of remake, the South Destruct comes through in the end, and that will win out the team fight for now, but it is still the overtime. Will there be an opportunity for Justice to respond?
They were millimeters away from losing the map there, Paris Eternal, and now they have all the momentum to close it out. Assassin with the clutch, Genji, Mag over on the Hog.
It's ridiculous. Actually, the Amp Matrix comes through. They need pickoffs, and they need them right now, but Onigod is just hammering in the shots from afar. Very difficult to try and dislodge him from this kind of position. Headshot after headshot. The res is going to come through as Closer is available to just escape with the Valkyrie popped off. A Deadeye being built up. There we go. Going to be 8 up though, and Jerry returns the fire back straight to the cranium. Instant res though. Paris do not want to be leaving this fight empty-handed. They want to be trying to get this closed out now. They want at least a chance to answer back here. You can see Jerry still. A lot of pressure being applied once more. Now it's going to be moving back up to the high ground. Deadeye of his own, Eddie Peel, no! Naga ends up going out. He flew out of range of the Immortality Field. It was great timing from Khan, but unfortunately not enough. Still might be enough to try and push this one into the finish line. Switching over, Mag over to the Wrecking Ball. Needs to try and stall this one. The flank attempt by Jerry is going to be shut down instantly. Closer gets the res off, but it's brought down immediately. The remake going to be denied. Supercharger built up as well. Darn surely not. Is he just about to do this for his team?
And they do it. The Paris Eternal eventually managed to scrap that one out. It was so dangerous. Even if you ignore the fact that Naga was 0.5 of a second away from just managing to touch the payload and keep overtime active, they nearly lost that final fight as well.
Yeah.
The Genji from Assassin was just had zero impact, but Mag's Hog stayed alive for so long. Bebe applied the nano boost. He was there, essentially immortal, keeping it alive for his team, while Jerry was just pumping in damage from off angles and was never dealt with. It took until the late end of that fight for Onigod to find the kill, and at that point, Paris were able to get across the line. Oh, this is a close map, Brent.
I mean, it's absurd, isn't it? I think the predictions for a lot of people's pick'ems would have been going away to Washington Justice. I know mine certainly were. And the Paris Eternal with a lifeline here. And I said earlier, when that 6 seconds got captured there for Washington Justice, I thought it would be making more of a difference, but obviously was not in the end. Just an extra 5 seconds here for Washington.
Brent, I've just realized I forgot to do my pick'ems. Don't be like me, chat. Don't be like me.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Didn't you forget am I going to win another week as well?
Yeah, I did. I forgot it for the whole of the main melee. Don't be like me, chat. How am I ever going to be able to win that Widowmaker statue now?
Exactly. I mean, you're going to have to be working overtime, I guess. Double shifts. Is that how it works?
All right, 1 minute.
Yeah. Only a minute on the clock for Paris to try and make something happen. Dawn this time has been punished. Last time he was given free reign to try and set up, but they actually tracked him down, and they had enough damage to take him out.
Great play. A really good adaptation. That's the thing that separates Washington from a lot of these other teams. This is the reason that they're 4-0. Even when they're in difficult matches, they find the right maneuvers the second time around. What does Paris have if they're not able to set up that big dive onto Jerry? Also, Jerry on Ashe this time, rather than the Widowmaker, so he can do way more.
Yeah, quite more mobile as well, but the coach gun can avoid a lot of the dive attempts coming his way. Still looking behind because Dan did just manage to wriggle his way there. Oh, and he's ready for it. The coach gun instantly. Look at that adaptation. He knew that the power driver was coming through. Quick little shot onto Khan. That's going to be one of their primary win conditions gone now. Might be able to get the res off, but okay. Well, there we go. Traded out as the Echo. Naga will be going down. Dan just trying to make it work, but the overtime don't think this is going to be enough. Bob sent down, straight down the street. Dan's not going to be able to touch this one in the end. And the Washington Justice getting that hold off, denying the tick to the Paris Eternal.
If the set plays don't work out for Paris, they don't really seem to have too much else. When Dan was able to get behind, yeah, great. And they were able to combo it with a Bionade. Fantastic, it worked the first time around. The second time, Washington know what you're going to do. First time they kill Dan, second time they stop him from getting a pile drive, and they also punish Khan for overextending to get that Bionade off. That's who Jerry kills. Jerry's just the linchpin there. As soon as he swaps to Ashe, he has all the tools available, as long as he knows what Paris are going for, to be able to punish this. Let's take a look at this again. I mean, this was their first punish of Dan. So much damage coming through. And the second time around, coach gun to deny and manages to get the kill on Khan. This Paris Eternal team is showing us some really nice strategies, but when they falter, when those set plays don't work out, they don't necessarily seem to have a plan B as well as the Washington Justice do. Paris is still 1-0 up in the series though, and a draw here would still be fantastic for them.
Certainly would. And a minute and 5 seconds is what Washington will be working with on their attack. And they're playing a comp that can get a lot of pace in. Still resorting back to this this rush dive-esque composition that we've been seeing a lot of teams try and run with the Reaper and the Echo. Quite dependent on the speed boost, I think, is that kind of cooldown to try and take your fights. But it gives you a big threat, I think, especially if you can build up the coalescence quick.
Paris again going with this double shield composition. Washington try and path all the way towards the back here. This is similar to what they did last time, except they pathed up the stairs, but the end result is the same. They end up here, trying to face against Paris. Paris should know that they're going for a hardcore dive now.
Yeah, just trying to put the pressure onto them. The Halt actually does pull them back for just a moment there. Good play from Dan. The Immortality Field will be removed almost instantly, though. Now just trying to get past these pesky shields. You can see Naga is still there with the damage, and the beam does enough to cleave them through. Coalescence has to get something done, but already the players are falling.
It's already too late.
Yeah, the Paris Eternal with a great hold.
It's the Coalescence is used there to try and turn the fight around, which is the same thing that Bebe did previously. This time, though, they're not in position to be able to take the engagement again. This is just desperation. We're looking at a draw.
Oh my goodness, Mag's going to be able to touch this just for a moment. Want to go onto the high ground with the Deadeye. Nobody's going to be able to touch this, or just about. Fury probably going to be sacrificing the mech in the process just to try and keep his team into this one, but it's looking dire indeed. Paris Eternal laying down that supercharger, the rally armor on top of it. More than enough to try and stave them away. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We do have a draw here on Numbani. And yeah, it's good to have Numbani back in the map pool, because it feels like this is a commonality. This happens quite often.
The draw or the extremely close game? Because I think you can look at it both ways.
Sure,
right?
sure, yeah.
The first point is a little difficult to crack, but it also shows us so many cool things that you can do. And I love both teams' ideas of how they wanted to play. At the end of the day, though, they couldn't be separated. They were as close as it could possibly be here on the second map. Paris, I want to say again, showed us some really lovely set plays. Their ideas and their strategies coming into this map have been fantastic, and it's kept them ahead. Just by a hair, but they're still ahead.
Certainly are, and we're going to be heading to a quick break on the other side of things. Of course, we're seeing how the series is going to be progressing even further. Will the Paris Eternal be able to get that second map that they're looking for? Or the Washington Justice going to be answering back? These teams are so evenly matched. We'll be finding out soon enough. Don't go anywhere.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile. And by State Farm. For auto, home or renters insurance, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. The Overwatch League is brought to you by Cheez-It Grooves. So much flavor, it's a mind crunch. TeamSpeak, the official voice supplier of the Overwatch League. And by NetApp, the official data management partner of the Overwatch League.
Well, the Washington fans are cheering their team on from their new practice facility, of course. They're trying to get the fans in as well for these meetings in safe conditions as well. Hopefully, the first of many more to come. And yeah, the team definitely needs it. Currently 1-0 down. But in terms of the power rankings of IBM Watson, the DPS players are not hurting too hard. Assassin and Decay in the top 10.
And a lot of people are going to be questioning if the Washington Justice end up losing this match, which, okay, we're still a long way away from that. Where was Decay? I have seen it before, and I'm sure we will see it again. The community loves to do that whenever there's a star player. But I think you can see that Jerry is certainly putting up the performance that you would expect from a top player in this kind of circumstance. It's all, to me, coming down to how comfortable they look when it comes to different compositions and how quick they are to adapt to what the Paris Eternal are throwing at them. This is one of those early games in the June Joust where the meta hasn't finalized, you don't exactly know all of the comps that your opponents are going to be throwing at you, and you just need some time to be able to figure out what your team's answer should be. You need that strong personality within the team, the strong caller, to be able to direct you towards the right answers. I'm assuming for that team that it's Closer, because he's called in the past while he was playing, for example, with Fury on the team that won the Season 1 championship, the London Spitfire. But we'll have to see whether the adaptations continue being as good, because they managed to kind of save Numbani and turn it into a draw.
Yes, they did. Yeah, and off the back of that draw, we're going to be heading into Rialto as our next map. I have missed Rialto. This map, you've had so many iconic moments, I think, in the Overwatch League on it. It's one of my favorite maps to play, actually, as well, I think, in terms of the way it plays. It's an interesting one. It's a beautiful one as well.
It certainly is. It's an absolutely gorgeous map. I'm really excited to see the new maps as well. If we want to go there too, the art team does such a phenomenal job whenever they try and take inspiration from a new place. Like Rome just looks unbelievably gorgeous. But yeah, this map is fantastic too. The question for me here on Rialto is, what are these teams even gonna play? We've seen Rialto be played once so far, I believe, over in North America. But we haven't really seen map-specific comps be a solid thing yet. There are different... I mean, you can see the heroes that are being removed from the pool right now with Reinhardt, Sombra Tracer, and Zen. It's opened things up quite a lot. And it seems to me like Paris are almost deliberately trying to not get mirror matchups against the Washington Justice. They're trying to throw them as many curveballs as possible. Okay, we've got a ball coming out here for Mag as well. This is going to be interesting. This is interesting, yeah. I mean, it's so typical, I think, as well, on this first point that we would see kind of, I suppose, in the past, Reinhardt compositions, but not able to here. Oh, take a little ride.
Little trip on the boat.
He's going for this awesome sight line all the way down the bottom here. But now there's a shield in his way.
Yeah, probably going to have to back off there, Jerry. Nice try, lad. Maybe next time. And this card will be steadily pushed up. So the Washington Justice just opting to just hold on to this high ground, probably fight when the card gets pushed up to the corner, which is typically how teams like to play on Rialto, because he's going to get pushed up. And actually, the rotation here by Paris.
Yesterday we saw Double Shield attacking into Winston comps, and once the Double Shield started rolling, it felt very difficult to stop. I imagine the same would be said here of it playing against the ball comp on defense as well. Once that Double Shield gets in position and wins the first team fight, it's hard to stop them. So this is the chance for Washington. You need to stop them from even getting a foothold on the card.
And it all happens at this corner. Dawn taking so much damage. In fact, that immortality field has been forced out pretty early on. Fury will trade his mech for it. Is it a worthy trade? Well, we're going to find out as the fight progresses. You can see Assassin just trying to keep Naga in check, but the flight being used, Assassin caught out. And yeah, the Paris Eternal, they pounce on the opportunity. Multiple kills going their way. It's up to Mag to try and stall this one out. They get the flashbang off onto him, Power Driver, but taken out momentarily. And the cart is going to begin to pick up some momentum.
And this is where it becomes a little difficult, I think, because Jerry's facing two shields. How is he going to get value on the Widowmaker? Mag is pushing in, and he's dealing with CC from every direction. He's got halts to deal with, accretions, Brig shield bashes, the McCree flashbang. It's so hard for Washington to win a good team fight here. They can stall the cart, sure, but eventually Paris is going to get rolling.
The cart's so close. You're going to see the contest coming through. Assassin needs to try and get this kill, but the immortality field, it's more than enough to try and stop them here. The accretion comes through as Assassin moves over to the Sigma using the duplicate. Almost built up this gravitic flux. In fact, he's got it. Now he's going to be utilizing it, but the Fortify from Darn will be avoiding a lot of the damage coming through from it. Another accretion up close. It's a lot of consistent damage, but is it enough to try and burst through this? The Supercharger is doing so much work here for Paris. More than enough damage. Overlaid on top with the rally armor. They got survivability. They're going to be punching through this objective in a matter of time.
Yeah, there's a 4-minute time bank here. They did force a lot of ultimates out of the Paris Eternal, but now they're going to have access to this high ground, and it's going to be so hard for Washington to get back in. When I watched that team fight, where are the win conditions for Washington? The Assassin needs to get a straight-up kill through Double Shield and through an Immortality field, or Jerry needs to find a crazy pick-off on the side. Otherwise, they just don't have the tools necessary. So much of this comes down to Jerry or Assassin overperforming expectations for them to be able to actually win team fights and halt this momentum.
Justice are trying to hold up onto this staircase. But you're right, Josh, the win conditions are few and far between, it feels like, for the Justice. They have a couple of ultimates being built right now, but look at the space being created now. Gravitic Flux connects onto only Bebe, but that is enough for the kill. Locks him into position, locks him in place. The mines, the self-destruct, is that going to be enough to try and push them away? Only for a moment, but then Paris Eternal going to be pushing right back in. It does give them enough space for the res. Big Bionade connects onto 3, and the res, the Nano Boost I should say, coming through onto Fury just to keep him alive. On he go with the Deadeye now, just trying to connect it, possibly get a D-Mech or a kill. Unable to really get that done. Washington from this staircase positioning, they're doing a very good job of just holding off the Paris Eternal. The teamfight could be going either way here. Mag ends up feeding this away on the defense. Fury D-Mech'd as well.
Huge performance there from Assassin and Jerry as we go towards a pause. That's an unfortunate scenario to end up pausing the game, but this was the first time in this map so far that the Justice have won a decisive team fight. Rather than just slowing everybody down, once the Paris Eternal committed to the floor to try and stop Bebe from getting resurrected, after they dropped down there to try and get the second kill on Bebe, if you want to say it like that, after he'd come back to life, Washington took all the high ground. Jerry found a kill on Elevote. They got Assassin in a position where he could do damage. So Washington are playing this well enough to be able to win fights, which is, it's a tough comp to be able to get those decisive wins. And they're still managing to take time off the clock, even when they take these long, scrappy engagements.
They certainly are, yeah. And honestly, the scraping of time back. Go ahead, yeah, go ahead.
No, sorry.
I mean, I was literally, I was not going to say anything important.
Well then,
don't you worry.
Bren, we told the people at home what was going to happen the next time there was a pause. I've got a little
Okay.
fact to throw at you, because yesterday, for anyone who
No, I take it back. What I said was going to be important.
Bren said yesterday that Prometheus flew too close to the sun, and so I felt like it was important here to just throw a couple more facts at him, because clearly the master of Greek mythology is in the building here. Do you know what the staff is called? Do you know what the staff is called that Mercy has? Do you know what that is?
It begins with a C. It is.
Yeah.
It's Cadius or Cassadius?
Caduceus. Let's go with that. All right. Do you know which person in Greek mythology had the Caduceus, the staff? Do you know who that's related to?
Demeter?
I mean, great shot, but no, it was Hermes.
Who was it?
It was Hermes.
Oh, Hermes. Hermes had that?
Yeah. You know why? Because Caduceus is the sign of the messengers. It's actually not supposed to be a symbol of medicine. That's the rod of Asclepius, who I'm probably mispronouncing horribly.
Okay.
But yeah, the Caduceus, the design of that is historically associated with like liars and thieves. So what does that say about Mercy? What does that say about Closer here, huh?
Wow. Maybe we're spoiling Overwatch 2 lore, you know, by like maybe Overwatch were the baddies all along. Who knew?
Wow, that's so
There's
true.
a twist. There's a little twist for you. Okay, the Paris Eternal on the attacking side. I'm so glad that pause ended. They're going to be trying to find a way into this now, and the Justice actually made a couple of adjustments themselves, running the Orisa this time around, and they are just anchored onto this high ground staircase position. Very difficult to try and push around here, but obviously Naga's going to be looking for opportunities to see if he can get a kill or two. Have to be very careful about taking these aggressive positions, because there you go. Head gets taken clean off there. Jerry finding the opportunity, finding the pick for them, and Paris are not running the Mercy. They cannot undo that pick.
That's one of those key kills that you need to be able to grab. And now that Elevote isn't on the Sigma, that's one less shield for Jerry to have to deal with. He's going to have those opportunities more and more. That's a lot of damage into Dan as well. And as Dredro gets back to the battlefield, Washington's composition has now shifted to give them many more opportunities to win these fights.
Argos actually ended up using a duplicate, but he took a headshot immediately and D-mech'd out of it. Has to try and get back into the mech very quickly here, otherwise the duplicate is pretty much wasted. Gets into the mech. Don't know if he got the mech damage, the cooldown damage, but possibly.
I don't think so.
Okay, we'll see the Amp Matrix being used onto the high ground as well here. Fury's just trying to hold his ground, but it's very difficult A ton of work being put in here by the Paris Eternal with a rally on top of it. It's a lot of health. Self-destruct doesn't get too much here. Fury ends up getting taken down before he can get back into the mech. So the Paris Eternal just steadily pushing this one further forward. You can see Naga's actually made a last-minute switch over to the Genji. Maybe anticipating the Washington might be trying to contest this one, but it looks like they're not really in too much of a position to do so.
They popped in for sight, so they can see the Genji coming towards them. But Jerry's not going to use that 15-second window to do anything, really. It's not like Paris had to hide either and try and run away from it. Instead, they're plowing forwards.
Yeah. I'm curious how this Genji's going to be working. Maybe trying to combo it with the Halts. We'll see. Dragon Strike straight through. No one's really getting caught out here. In fact, it's the Justice who are taking the initiative as they end up using the Supercharger. Gets taken out pretty quickly here. Self-destruct doesn't get too much done, but closer falls. A big pick-off. A bit of spam damage from Darn actually getting that pick-off for them. Shield comes through. Fortify has to be used to try to escape out of their path. Paris Eternal not relenting in the slightest. In fact, they're going to be catching Fury out with a D-Mech onto the side. Not ideal for them. In fact, the Paris Eternal are looking unstoppable right now.
They are just powering forwards. I'm not exactly sure how much value Naga is getting, apart from in these kind of cleanup scenarios, but it's certainly throwing a curveball in.
Wow.
And those final few minutes were just devastation. As soon as the Washington Justice lost that first team fight, they couldn't stop the momentum. Again, and this time even when they were running the Orisa themselves. The pick on closer was so hard to try and come back from. With your Mercy down, you just lose all ability to stabilize. And that's a fantastic time back. It's not going to get on our leaderboards, but it's still a really good time back.
Paris, I think, yeah, they're going to be very pleased with this one. Do you know what figure that is in Greek mythology?
This one?
Mm-hmm.
That's a figure from Greek mythology, is it?
Maybe.
What city are we in here?
Oh, wait. What city is this? Is this supposed to be... Wait, what city is this? Is this map supposed to be based on Italy?
What kind of very famous city in Europe has canals?
Oh, Venice.
Ah, now we're getting
there. Okay, all right, okay. Yeah, I'm on the same page as you now. I'm on the same page.
So I feel like it's more likely that wouldn't be someone from Greek mythology rather than...
Didn't the Romans kind of like appropriate the Greek mythos?
They have very interweaving kind of stuff, yeah, and a lot of the...
I thought they did over time.
The Roman elite spoke Greek as well, as far as I'm aware. It was supposed to be the language of the like upper class. So yeah, possibly it is.
I'm sure a lot of this is wrong.
Oh, I'm sure all of this is wrong. We're Overwatch analysts, not mythology analysts. So there's people out there just losing their minds.
Yeah, I'm so sorry if this is your field of study and we are just speculating purely on facts, on history. Sorry about that. Yeah, we'll talk about Overwatch now. The game continues. Justice are going to do a bit of a repeat here of what Paris were doing. They just about... Look at this angle that they're taking, actually. Onigod gets forced out. And Naga's going to try and contest this one. But again, he might be punished here. Yes, indeed. The sticky bombs, the damage boost. It's all too much. An Assassin is going to be the victor.
Really nice rotation around the left-hand side from the Washington Justice. Finding that angle to get around Dan and Elebow and find a pick. And now they've just pushed them into a corner here. Another pile drive, another set of damage from above. Good coordination and timing, but they still haven't found that crucial advantage.
Oh my goodness, in fact, Jerry goes down to the spam that's coming out from Dan. All right, well, Max is going to be dropping the mines onto the car just to attempt to try and push them away, but the mines are kind of just almost collected over to the other side of the car. They're not even too worried about it. And Paris did such a great job of just biding their time, staving off the aggression once more, but Justice are not going to be giving up that easily. They're again taking up an aggressive onto the flank, but as that was going on, Jerry ends up getting caught out. Surely not the D-Mech as well. It is indeed on top. That is wonderful work here from Paris, adapting on the fly.
Great proactivity from them as well, but there's a Bionade in the back that's forced out this Immortality field, and Dan drops.
See some clutch plays coming out from Naga here as he tries to at least clean up this fight to try and get Dan back into And that was a really big kill, honestly, onto Darn, because you're losing your Orisa, you're losing your anchor tank. It's not like they can get back into the fight quickly. Apparently, still going to be trying to hold this corner.
It seems risky, doesn't it? Because there's a massive spawn advantage for the Washington Justice. But I assume that he's going to be able to get back with them. He's just galloping to the front lines right now.
Yeah.
And he is going to reconnect with the rest of his team. He's going to have that supercharger back as well. There's a monkey on the field. There's 2 monkeys on the field. Naga's so deep.
Yeah, Naga ended up using this duplicate, and now he's going to be committing the Primal Rage that he's just built up.
Very disjointed from the rest of the team, but I think this was kind of, again, to push them back to make sure Dan would be able to connect with the front line early.
Ooh, the beam. Oh my goodness, Closer is so lucky to get out of that one, just about surviving on 1 health. But again, Parasiternal just holding down this corner. A minute left, a minute remaining, and now the ultimates are being used one after the other. Self-destruct into the back, it takes out Khan, and it takes out the Supercharger as well. This is a great window of opportunity for the Washington Justice. They're going to be able to win this one though. The Gravitic Flux catches onto the 2 of them, brings them out of the duplicate. They combo with the sticky bombs as well. Naga just laying it down onto the floor, just like a bunch of little eggs to be warmed up by a mother hen. And they're going to be taken out of the fight just like that.
Paris Eternal is so coordinated with these kind of combos. I love the proactivity from them. They push forward to be able to punish Jerry when he was on the McCree. Then they push forward with Naga's duplicate to be able to get some disruption on the Washington Justice. And then they went forward again with the Gravitic Flux and the follow-up afterwards there. It looked dangerous for a moment as Fury sent that bomb up to catch Khan. But Washington are scrambling. They're changing comps. They don't know what to run. Mag's played 4 different main tanks so far, and now he's on the hog with Jerry back on McCree.
Difficult scenario. They don't really know how to approach this corner, and so many teams get held up here. Fury demeched, has to jump off the map real quick. The hook is going to miss! Assassin goes down as well to the sticky bombs. The instant res comes through, unable to be denied, but the damage might just already be done here. Mag has to try and play with the rest of his team, getting stunned up, getting pressured up. The Paris Eternal, nobody touches! There were so many members of Washington alive, but the Paris Eternal, they're the ones who are taking away the map.
They just assumed that the ball could touch, and nobody else contests the objective.
Ooh.
2 map losses and a draw without a single win. Washington have got to be feeling rattled here, heading into the 4th map. This is a major upset on the horizon that we're witnessing right now. Paris Eternal are outclassing them across the board. Much better understanding of the meta, really good team coordination. And fantastic individual performances as well from people like Naga and Khan.
Yes, unreal stuff coming out from the Paris Eternal. I mean, this team just making leaps and bounds over the course of the season. The expectations were low, but the heights they can reach definitely up there if they manage to take this win around. And we're going to be finding out on the other side of the break whether or not the Paris Eternal are capable of doing so. Just 1 more map stands between them and taking this series away from the Washington Justice. See you then.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Look at that, Rolf with the pick onto BQ beat, massive bio nade. Look at that, connecting onto 3 members, Khan.
That was huge, that boop there from Masa.
Hello and welcome to the Overwatch League 2021 Player Roundtable presented by Xfinity, the preferred internet provider of the Overwatch League. Alright guys, what do you guys think of support hero balance right now? I personally think we're in a pretty good spot with I think every hero solves its own little niche. You know, we don't play a lot of your Moiras or too much Mercy right now, but I think they're in pretty good spots. What do you guys think?
I feel like the super meta is really flexible right now. You can pretty much play anything. You can see in Apex recent they play a lot of Mercy, here in NA, people prefer Brig. Pretty much everything goes at the moment. The meta is really flexible and the balancing feels pretty damn good right now. That nothing's super broken.
Right now it's probably the best support meta has ever been. The balance wise, it's very even. You're just seeing so much diversity in comps. Teams are more playing to what they think their strengths are, rather than just following a set meta.
Big shouts to these guys for joining us. That is going to be it for the Player Roundtable presented by Xfinity. We'll see you next time.
There were so many awesome creations submitted to the May Melee Frag video contest this year, and we've narrowed it down to the top 5, and now it's your chance to vote for the winner. So head over to blizzard.wishpond.com/May-Melee by May 22nd to cast your vote for the winner of the $3,000 grand prize. There you go, get your votes in right now and vote for which one you think is going to be the best. Yeah, I mean, we've got so many creative members of our community as well, and you guys never cease to amaze me and amaze us as well, because the world doesn't revolve around me, as I've discovered.
Apparently not. Paris Eternal, though, they are looking great in this series so far. Upsetting everybody's expectations, coming out here swinging. This team's 1-4, and their only victory over a team at the bottom of the table, so the fact that they could come in and deliver the first regular season upset to the Washington Justice seemed almost impossible. Yes, it's the beginning of the June Joust. Yeah, it's a crazy meta. But these upsets still don't happen that often. This really feels like Paris Eternal have taken that break between the two stages and become a truly better team. Their teamwork and the way that they've tightened everything up is just spectacular.
Yeah, I mean, there was so much, I think, coming into this this season of the Overwatch League. A lot of fans kind of downplaying, I suppose, the London Spitfire and the Paris Eternal especially. But if they end up besting the Washington Justice here, it really does showcase that there is a ton of talent in some of the underappreciated regions within the Overwatch scene. And, I mean, it just goes to show here, Paris Eternal is a team that I think the expectations from most people were that this was a squad that wasn't going to be able to compete and contend with some of the very best. But we're looking at it right now. It's a 2-0 lead against the Washington Justice. They are one map away from winning this series. Just absolutely astounding stuff.
It's been great. And the other point to that as well, Brent, is that normally with these teams that are towards the bottom of the table, it's not because of individual talent. You can see a player like Naga, he popped off in contenders. He was fantastic in European contenders. Looked like a real star player coming out of there. And okay, the performances have been up and down in the season so far, but as soon as the team gets their coordination and their teamwork together and figures out how they want to play their comps, these individuals are empowered to succeed. And his Echo has been spectacular. Started off going 25-5 on Ilios, and he's ended up, per 10 minutes, putting up 10 kills with only 4 deaths. Those are some phenomenal stats against one of the best teams in the league.
Certainly are. We're heading over to Volskaya as the next map as well, so expect a bit more of the Naga playing Echo, I believe, as well. On top of that, I mean, it seems to be kind of the de facto pick in a lot of the scenarios, at least for Paris, regardless of composition. And they've certainly been making it work. I think this general game plan, their set plays as well, have been testing and pushing the Washington Justice in this series in terms of how well and how quickly they can adapt. And as it stands right now, one map is what decides this entire series from either continuing or ending right here.
Ren, I want to see another draw. I want to see this game...
Another draw?
I want to see this game go to map 12. It's not even possible, but I want to see it happen. These two teams are so even. If it ended with a 3-0 here, I think that would imply that the Washington Justice performed much more poorly than they actually have been. They've been in this game. They might not have been, you know, the better team. I think that's very clear that they haven't been the better team. But they've at least had some good adaptations on Numbani, some interesting answers. A very, very close map 1. So I think we could still be going even further here. The Washington Justice did look mentally rattled after just losing on their 3rd map on Rialto. But I'm expecting a bit of a bounce back.
Could see it. They've had a decent amount of break. We'll find out if we're in for a treat here with this series really going the distance. You can see all the little spam that's being sent across the map there from the overhead map view. I love this. It really does feel like almost like an RTS game or something.
Sure.
Just all the little shots popping off. But this is the Paris Eternal obviously trying to find a bit of an opening now to try and pounce onto. The Washington Justice are going to be running this double shield up close, and these comps are quite slow in terms of their approach and how
Naga's
they want
on
to
a
be taking
flank,
these fights.
Naga is all the way behind, and he's going to swoop in at the same time.
He's forced out the immortality. Yep, that's a great cooldown to be catching them off now, because Bebe immediately goes down, and look at the damage they put into it. They can try and maybe get a couple more. The beam is not going to be getting too much done from Naga. He needs to be trying to use that lamppost to avoid the damage coming in his way from Jerry, but it matters not. Onigod is there, and look at the shots. This guy, I mean, you can only see it in the kill feed. They do still have to deal with Jerry and Assassin, who are alive and kicking. But
yeah, I mean, Assassin just got taken down and got a post, what do you call it? A post-death kill.
Yeah,
a posthumous is the word that I was looking for there, with the sticky bombs. But that was another really good set play from the Paris Eternal. I don't know whether Washington... Yeah, they're going to recontest this one with the ball.
Gonna try to. It's so hard to break through this double shield, though. So difficult. Still, this point just continues to gain progress. Someone has to touch this. Someone has to commit. But into the Amp Matrix, I mean, that might just be a death sentence. The Immortality Field will go. Who's going to be trying to touch this? The Gravitic Flux committed, and that's a pause. Oh boy, it's mythology time.
There have been so many pauses in this game, and it's really messed with the momentum of these teams. This one right in the slap bang in the middle of a team fight too. But hey ho, what can you do? It's the online era of esports, so these things are slightly more common than they used to be before. Yeah, you wanna you wanna begin the mythology podcast again?
We don't know how long this pause is going to be, so throw me a question.
Here's a question for you. I'm going to start easy.
Okay.
I was just thinking in the break there. I was thinking, okay, what is the simplest stuff that people know about Greek mythology? I want to ask you about the legend of Troy. Well, what can you summarize about the legend of Troy? How long do you think it lasted for? The war of Troy.
I think he used the spear, right?
Wait, sorry. Who is he?
Is it not about Troy as a...
Well, Troy was a city. Troy was a city-state.
Oh, yeah. It was a war fought... It was a war fought over something or other.
Yeah? Have you
have
ever
anything
heard the
to do-
phrase... Okay.
Go on.
No, go on. I
Yeah,
don't want to
give me a
interrupt
hint.
you.
Give me a hint.
Okay, have you ever heard the phrase, the face that launched 1,000 ships?
Yeah.
They're not talking about you. Do you... No? We're
I don't
not
know, I'm
getting
quite
anywhere
popular.
here?
I'm quite popular on fan fiction sites, Josh. I could have launched 1,000 ships. You don't know that. But go on, carry on.
That's very possible. It was a war fought over Helen of Troy with King Agamemnon trying to reclaim his wife. No?
Okay.
No, not ringing any bells?
No, never heard of that one.
Brent, have you ever heard about a big wooden animal that they use?
Yeah. Oh, the Trojan horse.
The Trojan horse.
Yeah, is that how they got into the city and started it?
Yeah, that's how they got into Troy. Now, that would be much weirder if that was a person, wouldn't it? If the person was called Troy and they used a wooden horse to get inside of it. I mean, that's a very different story. Again, probably fan fiction.
But I thought we were
it,
talking
but
about
that is very
people,
different.
like people.
Okay. You want to talk about people? How about? Okay, what about Hercules? Hercules being the Roman name for him, but Heracles for Greek. Do you know Do you know why he was so famous? He had these 10 or 12 tasks that he was supposed to do. The labors of Heracles. You heard of those? The stuff he had to do?
Was he involved in the battle for Troy?
No, not quite. You might be thinking of Achilles. You might be thinking of Achilles.
Oh, yeah! Achilles was, yeah. No, never. I mean, I've heard of Hercules, but I've never met him.
No? Okay. Neither have I. I've never met him. You know what, Brent? I've heard about a lot of people that I've never met. That is in some way how the world works.
Yeah, go on.
I'm aware of them.
Give me...
Do you know one of his tasks was to kill the Cretan bull, the bull from the island of Crete.
Oh, yes! Yeah.
Okay, what can you tell me about this? I'm teasing
was the Cretan bull in a labyrinth?
Close, actually, close. The Cretan bull was the father of the animal that was in the labyrinth. What was the animal in the labyrinth called, though? That wasn't just a bull. There was something special.
It was a minotaur.
Oh, there we go. Now we're getting it.
But I can't remember his name.
You can't remember whose name?
He's going to be so angry at me. I can't remember his name.
Whose name? The Minotaur's name.
Yeah. He had a name, I think, because he was cursed, I think, because he beat somebody in a battle, I think, and he was I think he was cursed to be.
Brent, you might be thinking of Beauty and the Beast.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure. Well, okay, well, you tell me.
What am I supposed to be telling you here? As far as I know, he's just called the Minotaur. I don't know what his name is, if he had a name. But
I think he does have a name.
He was just.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he was just a Minotaur from birth. It was his father was in fact a bull. It's quite difficult to be able to get humans out of bulls.
He was
in
locked
fact,
in a labyrinth.
Let's leave that completely to the side.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. How would you struggle if you were inside a labyrinth? What would your go-to plan be for being able to get through?
Left-hand wall, always. Just keep going left. And I can remember that because I'm left-handed. What?
Why? What does that do?
Well, eventually, at a certain point, I would hope to find just an exit. I don't know if...
Mate, you'd be going around in circles.
Not necessarily.
Do you drive? Is that your method of getting around a city? You just take left turns constantly?
Well, if he... Okay, well... It's a good point, actually, yeah. But even if I trace the wall with my... Yeah, maybe, actually. Well, I would take... Okay, well, yeah, I guess that wouldn't really work if there was, like, a square in the labyrinth.
Okay, well, let's move on to one of the other tasks of Heracles.
Okay.
I think it was his final task, though I might be wrong. Was to
10, right?
Capture. I think he ended up actually having 12, but I'm not sure. Again, people who are interested in Greek mythology are going to be mauled in right now. But I think one of his tasks was to like capture. It might have been kill, but I think it was capture the. Should I ask you what the name of this is, or what it was? I'm going to ask you what it was. Cerberus. You heard of that?
Oh, the three-headed dog. The gatekeeper of the underworld.
There we go. Okay, Brent knows his stuff. Are you into the underworld? You know everything about that?
I know a little bit about it. Yeah, a little
What do you
bit.
know?
Well, I played a game called Hades, and it's set there, so I know a little bit. Yeah,
Okay.
I know bits
Very
and
good.
bobs about it. But there's a bloke called I don't know how to pronounce his name. Charon.
Yeah, Caron, I think.
If you don't,
I don't
if
know,
you don't,
something like that.
if you don't give him a coin, he's the ferryman to the river of. Not going to pronounce.
The river Styx.
Sticks. Yeah.
Styx, I don't know.
Sticks. And if you don't give him a coin, he doesn't give you passageway to the plains of somewhere. I can't remember what the plains are called.
That is generally speaking how ferry people work. I don't know many of them that work for free. So, yeah,
but you got
I mean, I'm
to.
not
But a lot
holding it
of
against
you know
it.
when you. Back then they were like, well, if you die and they don't give you a coin on your body, you're not going to have passage for the ferryman. So you're going to be stuck at the gates.
Right. Oh, that'd
Yeah.
be devastating, wouldn't it?
It would.
That would be
I mean,
devastating.
I don't really know what you do for money in the underworld. It's not really much you could do, I don't think.
I assume they've still got some kind of barter system. There'd probly be some
What would
precious
you-
golds down there in the underworld, wouldn't there? Normally
Sure, yeah,
mining.
maybe.
Some
I'm not
kind
too
of
sure.
stuff
Have
in
you
the
got another
walls.
question for me? My legs are
Have I
getting
got
a bit
another
tired.
question for you?
Yeah.
Let
Am
me
I allowed
think.
to sit
let me
down?
think. What you
I'm
gonna?
gonna,
You're
I'm
just
gonna
gonna?
take. I'm gonna take a seat. Yeah. Go on. Give
You're
me
gonna
another
go so
question.
much lower than me. Now I'm like hovering over you, asking
well-
you questions.
I'll have another
like-
question, please.
Another question.
Yes,
well,
please,
this is way more stressful for me to try and come up with them. Let me think. Do you know the person? Do you know the name of the person that ended up slaying the Minotaur?
I've heard of him. I can't remember
Have you
his
met him?
name though. No, I've never met him.
Ever met
no.
him?
No, I've never
No.
met him. I've heard
Brent,
of him.
which
though.
what area of mythology or history are you into? What is your area of expertise?
Honestly, a little bit of everything. I kind
A
of
little
dabble
bit
in.
of everything.
I kind of dabble in everything. Yeah.
Okay, all right. That really doesn't open things up whatsoever. We've been lost in the sauce for this podcast
Yeah.
now. It's gone off the rails.
Okay. Yeah.
The problem is, Brent, that I'm not a Greek mythology expert, so I really don't know that much more about it. I
Yeah,
could probably
and,
think of some more stuff off the top of my head, but I can't really remember.
I'm going to take this opportunity to throw us to a break as well. Thanks for tuning in to our mythology podcast in the middle of this series. We're going to figure out what the cause of the pause is and hopefully have the match start momentarily. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully more Overwatch League action coming up after the break. We'll see you then. Welcome back, everybody, to the Overwatch League, and yep, we're going to be getting this game underway. Despite how upset Darn looks, I guarantee you, I think they are ready and raring to go. I believe it was potentially an internet outage by Dredro, not too sure. But yeah, we're going to be getting back into the action in the middle of this team fight, if you can recall and hopefully erase the mythology lesson that you've just had from your brain. Remember that there is Overwatch being played in front of us, and it's in the middle of this team fight here. 98.8% onto the point for the Paris Eternal. They've got to try and flip this over, but it's going to be some early picks going their way. Now the rally being used early on, closer. Dredro actually gets taken out. The Supercharger committed. The Gravitic Flux, surely that's not enough. And it definitely won't be. A lot of ultimates exchanged from either side to try and win out that team fight. 99% is all the Paris Eternal are going to be able to gain.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you, Bren, and say I know exactly how that team fight went down because of that gigantic pause that was in the middle of it. But the facts of the matter are that they were 1% away from being able to capture point A. And now this is an enormous momentum reset for the Paris Eternal. They don't have access to the rally or both of their tank ultimates. And it's really all just down to this duplicate. The Dragon Strike is pretty good for being able to kind of push the positioning of everybody, but they're still going to be able to stay alive.
The Dragon Strike into the hole forces out the Immortality field. It's a big ultimate for them, but Closer uses the rally in response. The beam, oh my goodness, the duplicate has to come through yet. Naga to stay alive. Oh, you can see the approach coming through, the halt into the accretion again. Assassin is being pressured so heavily. Gravitic Flux going to be coming around the corner. Don't think that's catching, though. It actually missed, so Naga's not going to be getting any targets. The point, though, steadily gaining some process here. You can see the Closer just trying to hold on for dear life. Will anybody be able to touch this one? Immortality field gone, down, and out, and eventually they are going to capture it.
Okay, so 3 minutes and 50 seconds. Time bank for Paris Eternal as they're pushing in here. The Washington Justice swap over so that they're playing double shield again with Mag moving to Orisa. And now things kind of settle a little. Fury's going to have his ult available here. Oh, Paris Eternal, though, they are going for some really nice plays with this halt. A reminder for our audience that this cooldown has been reduced to 6 seconds. So that's a 25% reduction from what it was at previously. It's a big buff for Orisa.
Gravitic Flux built up onto the high ground. Fury just pumping in that damage at the off angle. But look at that halt again! That, Josh, I mean, you were just picking up the halt buff that's come through. The reduction down to 6 seconds, and it pays off. Instantly traded out, though, as Khan will fall. Naga is in the back line. Now he's going to be looking to put in a bit of damage. Has the sticky bombs available. Lays them off, and that is a perfect target. Bebe goes down immediately, but answered back straight away. Traded. Bob also falling, but a Supercharger down now for Dan. Looking to try and turn this fight. Nobody's taking care of Jerry on the flank. In fact, nobody seems to be even aware of this. The Supercharger falls pretty early on. Eventually, some pressure going to be applied to push him out of position, but the Paris Eternal forced to reset the fight.
Oh, show me how you did that later.
Gonna try and find positioning. Dragon Strike to push Fury out of the high ground. It's pretty intelligent usage of ults. The Immortality field is used, and the Gravitic Flux. Look at this, Elevote needs to stay alive, has to stay within the Immortality field, and there you go, Fury ends up falling. A bit of rally by Closer, but Closer goes down very early on. This Amp Matrix doing a ton of work. Hulk going to be pulling them forwards just ever so slightly, and look at the damage that Dan is just putting in here. Trying to get for that halt as well, trying to pull them back. The Supercharger used, rolling forwards, fortified. Dan might be able to take it out. You see potentially a clutch, but a nice accretion is going to be cancelling out the ult. Fury not able to get the Gravitic Flux off, and that is going to secure them that objective. 2 points on the board, 1 minute 31 is the time bank that Paris are working with.
Big time back, very nicely played. The big thing that I'm noticing, crucially, the difference between these two teams is that the Paris Eternal have these set plays that they can rely on, the interplay between teammates. With Washington, it just seems like they're slowly getting pulled apart, and they're never at any point combining their abilities in a good way to put the pressure on Paris. And that's such a crucial element for the Washington Justice to improve on when it comes to their double shield compositions. Because if they're not able to take control of a fight, they're just gonna lose over time. these individual plays like this are obviously fantastic and something that Washington could try and pull out themselves, but the real bread and butter of why Paris are doing well is that every halt has a purpose. Their positioning has a purpose. They know what they want to be achieving in a fight. Whereas Washington, it feels like for them, they're just kind of setting up their tanks and then shooting their opponents. They're not thinking about how their abilities want to combo together. Perhaps just haven't scrimmed enough double shield and weren't expecting to get pushed into this.
Yes, and yeah, the Orisa combination with the halt, I mean, it is the bread and butter of the comp, honestly. It's trying to combo those abilities and get value out of them. And I completely agree with your assessment of it, that Dan just seems to be a step ahead with the rest of his team in terms of how they want to be using it to press the advantage. Get the win. Now they're on the defense side, though, and again, still running the double shield. They've got Onigod holding a very long sightline all the way back, and Washington were doing a bit of scouting, going to be switching up their composition here. Yeah, so we're actually going to be seeing a bit of ball being played, as Mag's going to probably be trying to set up some sort of play, trying to get into the back line, survive, coordinate with the rest of the team. Jerry on the flank as well.
I love seeing this. Bit of a sneaky maneuver. Obviously, the Paris Eternal's composition is much more static than you would often see on Volskaya. He has a huge opportunity to get a pick.
They spotted him, I think, though. The shots, yeah, but pushing them forwards, he managed to get the kill anyway onto Onigod. There would be no punish for that. Dredro actually going to be slept up here. A lot of pressure on Naga to try and win out that fight, but when Assassin's being pocketed, it's a hard ask. And look at the kills just rolling through now for Washington, having no trouble cleaning up the rest of Paris. This will be a quick capture on checkpoint A.
And that's a really nice take by Washington Justice. That's what happens when Washington have a plan of what they want to execute and how to do it. And if Paris aren't disrupting them, the team that has a goal and can get the flanks and get the best position before the fight is obviously going to win. So much of top-level Overwatch is about recognizing what your opponent's trying to do positionally and stop that from happening. This time they just didn't realize that Jerry was going on the flank and Mag was getting set up. They couldn't bash Mag and stop him from getting into that position. Now Onigod pulls out the McCree so that he has another tool to deal with these Mag flanks.
Yeah, something to try and shut it down, the flashbang, and stop them from getting those setups would be really nice. You can see Assassin as well, just trying to essentially create as much space as possible with the rest of his team and just take it as well. So rotating around onto the high ground, and Paris are just dropping around the positioning. So they've actually given Washington the point here with the rotations. Assassin needs to be careful though. Stick bombs get laid down. Ooh, that's a lot of damage being placed onto Onigod. Will there be any sort of peel? 3 tanks laid into him. They eventually get the kill. Oh, sorry, 2 tanks and I suppose Assassin as well. But with the duplicate, he's going to make it a 3rd. Now just putting in that consistent chip damage, building up the self-destruct, just trying to pressure out Elevote into the corner. The Immortality Field is taken out. No point pressure. Gain done! Gets taken out by the self-destruct. He's trying to tuck himself away into the corner. Closer does fall though, which could be a great return kill. No mercy on the battlefield. Khan goes down as well. Fury still putting in so much work, and it doesn't really feel like the Washington Justice have too much of a foothold. They've got players in the fight, but they're taking it so slowly, Josh.
And this is the same thing that we criticized Washington for in the May Melee. Despite the fact that they were winning all their matches in the regular season, they were extraordinarily slow to be able to set up for these fights. It looks good when they begin because they're really forcing the rotations of Paris. They isolate Onigod and they get the kill. But they just don't seem to have that killer instinct to go from one pick to wiping a team fight. It's missing at the moment, and it's not just right now. It has been missing for a long time for Washington. This iteration of them, they've never really had that go switch, that go button that they can flip. Here, they get a pick. Are they going to try and go aggressively off this, or do they play slowly and wait for Naga to respawn again? It looks like the latter once more.
Yeah, a slow rotation around. Onigod is going to use the Deadeye because I think he anticipates that they're going to be playing a bit faster, but again, nobody's really pushing in. They're just trying to take positioning and take the high ground away. That's a great hook. Elevote is going to be demeched. Self-destruct's going to be used. He's so low. And he's going to get taken down for the dynamite burn. Yeah, not able to remech in time. This looks like the opening that they were looking for. Immortality Field will connect. Mag as well. Just a presence on the battlefield currently. Dan very low.
They lost 2 players though. This is still not looking great for them, Brent. The Paris Eternal are going to be able to get this duplicate up, and now the fight may start to turn in their favor.
Uh-oh. Yeah, Naga has the whole hog, and the team is ready and waiting. The rally is going to be committed. Josh, I want to remind everybody, look at the top of the screen. That's not even a single tick that's being gained, and now the whole hog might just be pushing them off. Duplicate's going to fade, so Naga doesn't get entirely the amount of value that he was looking for. 20 health, has to back off, has to get heals, will be healed back up now. Wants to try and put a bit of damage in with the beam, not enough. The duplicate gets used to try and reset them. Immortality field as the bio nade connects, but Bebe goes down. It is chaos that's occurring right now, as Bob is just shredding into them from on high. Jerry getting all sorts of damage done, and that is almost a clean wipe. Is that what they were looking for? Finally, a tick is on the board here for the Justice. But so much time being lost. Jerry, 45 health, has to back off, but his team has got his back.
They finally get the picks without losing any themselves, and even though it's been slow, this does look like they're going to be able to squeeze it out. The chokehold is in place, and the Washington Justice are pushing everyone away.
Yeah, the Immortality field probably not going to be staying up for much longer. They're trying to rotate bodies effectively, but Mag is so hard to get out of this position. When he's holding close to the hook, very difficult to try and take them out, and that will mean the Washington Justice do get the capture. 1 minute, 51 seconds. Just slightly more time, about 20 seconds more than the Paris Eternal. And yeah, we're going to be switching sides again.
Both of these teams continue to be neck and neck in this series, despite the fact that Paris are up 2-0. This is map 4, and it really does feel like either team could come away and win this. I would not be surprised if Washington reverse swept, but I also wouldn't be surprised if Paris just closed it out right here 3-0. It feels like this game is on a knife's edge and the momentum could go in either direction. But just returning back to our points about the Washington Justice, it feels like they're out here playing chess when the game that they're supposed to be playing is like Speed Ludo or something. Where they're out here playing Monopoly. Everyone else is rolling the dice and trying to move around the board as fast as they can. And instead, the Washington Justice are trying to slow everything down and make sure that every movement is perfect. It might be good to play like that in scrims to ensure that you get the cleanest results possible. But in this game, it just ended up with them having advantages in fights and not being able to turn them into captures. They spent 3 minutes, I think, before they got a fight that they could actually turn into a full win for themselves. And that's worrying as they play against better teams, or even here against Paris Eternal. If they don't find those early advantages constantly, how will they be able to convert?
Paris are going to be hunting for an opportunity. Drijo is going to be on the Mercy, so Naga will be getting the pocket, the damage boost. It's pretty nice to try and take the 1v1, especially. Assassin has kind of been on the better end of a lot of the 1v1s because of that, but you can see these early rotations. Washington want to be trying to take an early fight. Jerry just holding back really far. It's a ton of damage being pumped into them right now. Paris need to be careful. They don't have a lot of time here. Halt into the sticky bombs. The Immortality field comes through the beam to try and take it out. Assassin almost going down here. Another halt, pulling them back. Backwards, forwards. Paris just trying to find their opening, but Washington just holding on too strong. But the Amp Matrix has been built up, and they've been caught into this corner. The beam might be enough to take out Dan. No, the healing comes through. Keeps him above 50% health. Elevo just needs to trade positioning here with Dan, and now the Amp Matrix comes out on the other side of things, but it might be too late. The damage could already be done. Bebe does take out Naga. The rest comes through onto Assassin, keeps him up, but Naga back into the fight as well. Onigod down and out, sticky bombs, the beam. Is it enough? Trading out? Yes, it is. Assassin, though, falling very, very low. 24 health, has to back off around the corner for the heals, will get it. And now, 12 seconds remaining. The Paris Eternal on their attack. Are they going to be able to touch?
He really did not want to duplicate the Mercy there, but he was willing to if it had come down to it. Here we go, Paris Eternal. They have the ball that should be able to touch. He's going to trigger overtime, but he gives his life for it, Elevo.
Dragon Strike comes through. And we see Naga actually getting the duplicate now onto the Orisa. 2 Orisas on the field. Okay. Bit of double shield action kicking off, but Khan goes down. Gravitic Flux used in the back. And that is going to be the overtime eventually fading. As the Washington Justice, are they going to be able to get this hold off? Only a couple of players left standing here. Elevote, a last-ditch effort to keep the overtime going, but eventually will be brought down. And it's not looking doable just yet, so the Washington Justice is going to be stopping them short and not giving them even a single tick, which means that we've got a pretty winnable scenario here for the Washington Justice.
I'm getting Numbani flashbacks, Bren. This is pretty much the exact same thing that happened. Paris had a really nice play to be able to capture point A the first time around. In the overtime, though, they end up getting stopped. Nice adjustment by Washington. They played much more aggressively there. They were taking the fight to the Paris Eternal. They almost lost Jerry really early on, which would have been a disaster for them, but they just about managed to hold it together for the to ensure that worst case scenario is a draw here for the Justice. That's what Paris should be aiming for, though. Again, the same as Numbani. If they're able to keep clawing draws out of this series, they will eventually win it. They have been better when it's come to the escort and control maps. So if they can just keep these steady, that's a great scenario for them to be in. Remember that nobody expected them to even be in this position. No one thought the Paris Eternal would be 2-0 up in map 4. I mean, that would be a ridiculous prediction to make in the first place, but nobody thought they would be ahead.
Certainly not. No, they've always been the underdogs in this scenario, at least beforehand. But I mean, Paris just showcasing a lot here. Now, obviously, the best case scenario they can hope for is a draw. But like you were saying, Josh, I mean, a draw might be good enough to just eventually edge out this series over the course of it. It's impossible to draw control maps. Did you know that?
We've never seen it happen yet. I'm waiting for someone to break the game.
Yeah, it could happen, maybe. I'm not sure
it
how
can happen
game
on Escort.
works.
Yeah. Paris are going for something cheeky here. They've got Dan all the way in this close corner. I think they were expecting Washington Justice to pass through that room, and they were going to try and explode aggressively onto them with a halt. Let's see if they go for it. They might be trying to catch Mag as well, actually. Yeah. They know that Jerry went for a flank last time. There's Mag.
The halt onto
he
Mag.
Gets stunned. The halt into the stun as well, but they still can't take him down.
Whoa, Onigod though. Yeah, they just push forward because they realize, okay, Mag's not going to be able to set up. They want to disrupt the tempo. A minute left for Justice here. Jerry will be coming off the respawns. And Justice are in pretty solid positions here to try and set up something. Onigod just needs to be really careful. Flashbang. Headshot connects onto Mag. A lot of damage being done as well, but Onigod just, again, keeps putting in that consistent pressure. We'll see now, Flashbang comes through. That's going to be the DMEC now onto Fury. The Immortality Field keeping them alive. Fury, though, from the back, gets the beat down onto Onigod. And Mag, one of the last ones standing, just tries to roll out of there.
If they can get the stagger kill on Closer, which I'm almost certain they're going to be able to do, then it doesn't matter that Onigod died. They resurrect him anyway, but he could have come off the respawn and been able to get it. The fact that Res is down may end up being a little more crucial, but with only 20 seconds left, Washington have got a tough task ahead of them. Unless Jerry gets a pick, this is going to be a really hard point to push.
10 seconds.
Yeah, Paris so close to a multitude of ultimates here. Justice, they're going to do a lot of work now with just the nano boost. Fury has to touch the point, but the DMEC comes through, and that's going to be Assassin. Nano boosted, needs to try and put in a tremendous amount of work. The beam, a bit mistimed. Didn't catch it onto a target below 50 health. And now the point, someone has to get onto this Naga. Actually going to be duplicating over to the Wrecking Ball just to cause some even more disruption, but Mag and Jerry have fallen. The Valkyrie Closer just trying to keep this overtime ticking, but the way this team fight is rolling, it's looking over for the Washington Justice, and that will be our second draw of the series. Oh my goodness, you can see the pressure on these players' faces. It is still 2-0. We're heading to map 5.
The Paris Eternal are holding on. You can see it in their eyes. The fact that this series drags later and later favors the team with more experience, but Paris are doing a great job. The Plucky Rockies, they're staying in this. And Washington, they just simply can't win. They can't win. They're not setting themselves up for enough of an advantage in overtime to be able to close it out. And both teams are making nice adaptations the second time around. We were praising the Washington Justice for how offensive and proactive they were being on their defense. Look at the plays that Paris made. The attempt to catch Mag, the punish onto Jerry, it was all there.
Well, the Justice have been given a lifeline once again. A little bit of saving grace. Maybe they can bring this series back from the brink, or will the Paris Eternal be the ones to close it out? We're going to find out on the other side of this break, ladies and gentlemen, because map 5 is coming up.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile.
Welcome back, everybody, from the break. And yeah, the series seems to be on a precipice right now, and one map is going to be deciding. So the Paris Eternal close it out here and now, or is it the Washington Justice beginning the unthinkable? The reverse sweep will be going the complete distance. I mean, could be happening.
Oh boy. It really could happen. It feels like this series is so tight between these two teams. You can tell by the fact that we've had 2 draws, but this series feels so tight that the Justice could come back and win. They were a hair's breadth away from making this 2-2 or maybe even 3-1, considering how close some of the rounds on Ilios ended up being. That isn't the way that history has actually played out, though. And so the Paris Eternal find themselves 2-0 up here with a chance of closing it out. Now here's what I want to see from them on Lijiang Tower, which is our next map coming up here. They were able to win on the first control map of this series, but they need to do so here again. As soon as they let the Justice back into the game, as soon as the Justice start winning maps, and they will either win or lose here, that's when I start feeling sticky about Paris Eternal's chances of the victory. As soon as the Justice start to get that momentum rolling for the comeback, it becomes really hard to close a top team out of a match. You need to hit them hard and fast. This is your opportunity. Paris cannot whiff this. Otherwise, I'm feeling scared for them.
A lot of pressure here for Lijiang then. For the Paris Eternal to try and close this one out. And obviously coming out with a bit of Symmetra outside the gate. Probably just to teleport them all, but they're going to be sticking with it. They are actually going to be using the Symmetra TP to go straight up onto the point. And now they're going to be running this Orisa with the D.Va, setting up the turrets as well. The Justice playing this rush comp, trying to play into it. The Holt's going to be, I believe the Symmetra Orb is going to be 8 up there. And Justice just waiting for these cooldowns now to engage. Finally, they're back up, so they're going to be jumping straight in. The Immortality Field is going to be used as a reaction almost instantly. Mag gets taken out, and Naga is there, ready and waiting on the Reaper, cleaving through them with the Hellfire shotguns. Wonderful work, wonderful response there from the Paris Eternal, recognizing what the Justice were going to be doing.
Yeah, the Paris Eternal's composition is odd. It's like a mixture between a Brawl composition and then they also... yeah, I mean, it's essentially a Brawl comp, except you've replaced the Reinhardt with an Orisa. But they're not going to play that aggressively because they can't when they have the Orisa. They're going to play a little more statically. Look at Naga in the corner. He got found. He got spotted out by Assassin flying up in the air, and that cheeky little play that they were going for, probably with a halt, ends up resulting in his death.
Sticky bombs committed onto the teleporter there. And look at that, the Immortality Field is just going to go down immediately. Soundbar is committed by Drijo. They want to try and turn this one closer. Goes off the map. The shield. The Sim shield. Assassin's gone. No way are they going to be able to turn this one. Surely not. Mag now going to be using that Primal Rage, just trying to knock a couple of these targets back. But Dan's just trying to stay alive. Eventually beaten and battered into the corner. Naga back into it, but he will be removed as well. Points still in control for them, but 3 players left alive. More than enough to try and take it in the end, but it got very scrappy.
It certainly did. 3 big ultimates used there as well for the Paris Eternal. Arguably 3 of their most important. The Supercharger and the Sound Barrier are absolutely pivotal ults. And
well,
Paris, they're straight back in. They are immediately back in the team fight with that Amp Matrix and Teleporter.
They're not wasting any time in the slightest. Assassin is going to be using the duplicate, moves over to... Okay, Self-Destruct comes through, and Onigod will be taken out, but look at this, Death Blossom come through, but look! Oh, the Self-Destruct needs to be so careful, along with the remake damage, the boop away. The Paris Eternal going to be able to find the damage they need to try and get these Divas off the point. The duplicate will fade in the end. They still got to deal with Fury, who's just there. Soundbite is going to be keeping them in it. Only catches onto the 3 of them, though. Closer, trying to keep his team just in this fight a little bit longer. See, that Holt actually did end up connecting. The Death Blossom not getting too much work, though. Jerry going to be falling off the back of this one. They need to try and take out Fury, but they do flip the point over now, and they're going to be looking for a couple of these straggler kills.
Instead, though, Onigod got picked, and the Washington Justice, they invest their Coalescence to try and turn this one around. It's into a Supercharger, though, and they haven't been able to get rid of it in the slightest. What a problem there for the Washington Justice. They'd have loved to come back in with a Coalescence. Cole is so good against the Orisa. It's good to be able to get past the shields. It's good to be able to mop up people in the back because it does damage to everyone, and it can do damage to that Supercharger. And instead, Bebe doesn't have access to that tool anymore. This is such a hard fight to win. All eyes on Mag's Primal Rage.
Yeah, Mag has to get some work done here. The Primal comes through. Now Teleporter's going to be taken out as well, and Matrix. They can't really deal with Mag, but he's taking so much damage trying to knock a couple of these targets off. Has to back off with the rest of his team. They're trading out the kills here. Khan goes down, but the damage, look at it. It's already done. Simshield comes through, but only got eventually taken out. At least he got the ultimate down. The boom comes through closer. Might get taken out. Indeed, he does. Overtime, still going to be burning here. A couple of players from Washington just going to be tickling, putting a leg, a limb over the point just to try and keep this one moving. Mag pulled back by the Holt. The overtime goes to Death Blossom. That is going to be more than enough to try and shut down those two players as they try to approach. And now Fury with the South Destruct. It has to be big, but can it be that big in the name of the sound barrier that they're being met with? Not quite. The overtime will eventually go down, and the Paris Eternal going to be taking this first round here in map number 5.
And that's the kind of energy you need to see from the Paris Eternal to close out this series. It takes something special to rip these final maps away from top-tier teams. And they're on the precipice of being able to deliver Washington Justice their first loss in the regular season of 2021. Who would have thought it would be Paris? Not me. But this team is playing... they're on fire right now. They have such a good understanding of the meta and how they want to take these team fights as well. They're making Washington Justice look lost.
And yeah, the Washington Justice approach into these team fights, trying to play into the double shield.
So good.
It's not really working out for them. They need to find a way in.
Same compositions for both teams. Washington, they need a different look here. They have to be burning down Onigod and forcing out that immortality field early in the fight before they lose a player.
The TP onto the point here. Onigod's falling so low. That's going to force out the immortality field.
Now they need to get the kills, though.
Yeah, they need to try and focus down a couple of these players. But look, the longer this fight goes on, the better it's going to be for Naga as well, because look at that damage that he's putting in. Both the tanks going to be taken out for Washington. They no longer have a front line to try and take this battle. The teleport into the back line, Naga has to use that Wraithfang just to try and escape from a lot of the damage. Okay, and Paris Eternal again, the early control of the point. The Symmetra, the tempo which they're playing with this composition is really throwing Washington for a loop.
It is, but also Washington are not disengaging after they force out the immortality field and going for another push afterwards. They're just trying to brawl the whole time. They're taking too much damage, and so that's necessitated a swap over now. Mag and Fury move to double shield, so an extra shield in position rather than Elevote's Diva might give them what they need, especially because they have Cole in this fight.
City and Matrix being used just to try and push them away. Paris don't want to be letting them pass this choke point, but Washington a little bit split for now, but now going to be regrouping in, and this Coalescence should be big. All eyes on Bebe now for the Coalescence, pushing through. It's a lot of damage.
With the sound barrier.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they've just done. The sound barrier is going to be pushing Bebe back. Is it going to be enough heals for them? Assassin! Oh my goodness! That is ridiculous. Comboed up with Jerry. I mean, a lot of damage to try and overcome the doubled up Death Blossom. God, what a treat.
That's unbelievable. A little bit of a halt in there, a huge amount of damage done, and then both breakdancing Reapers tearing you to shreds. Well, it took something special there. They're not going to have access to that win condition again for a while.
Teleports off to the side. The Sim Shield is laid up immediately. Paris not giving me any time to try and catch my breath here. The sound barrier of Washington might keep them back into this one. The boop. Oh, the flight just comes online here for Assassin. Look at that Death Blossom. Fury and Mag are gone now out of the fight. Again, the front line, and the point flipped over to Paris. Again, these fast TP aggressive plays are just putting so much pressure on Washington to respond immediately. And it feels like they're fumbling ever so slightly every single time.
I agree, but it's the combination of the Symmetra and the Batiste. Being able to use the immortality field to buy time for Onigod to do more damage has just ended up being way more effective than the Moira and the Echo. Assassin's move to Doomfist to try and get those instant kills and ignore the immortality field, but he's going to have to come up huge here for Washington.
Yeah, and look at the positioning of Paris. They're playing so far back.
He's already
and there's the Matrix. He's gone. He's down. They played away from the walls to avoid the Doomfist damage. This adaptation by Paris is a masterclass. It's an absolute dancer playing around the point here. The immortality field is going to be keeping them up away from that gravitic flux. The coalescence from Bebe isn't going to be enough here. It might be enough damage as Drijo does fall. The Fortify keeping Mag up as well. Naga, anyone to deal with him, shredding them with the shotguns, but eventually brought down in the end. With the Supercharger committed, Paris will be pushed off this point, using up that ultimate in the process.
They just about managed to get that one. It's so tight every time the Washington Justice flip the point in favor, and Paris Eternal are going to have another opportunity to go back in. There is no slack in terms of how the Paris Eternal are playing. It's fast-paced, rapid aggression all the time, and there's going to be another engagement here off the back of a teleporter. Where does Onigod choose to go? They could go for a bait at some point here as well. If they feel like Washington have got the answer for it, they could throw down a fake teleport and then speed boost out. That's what they're going to go for.
Yeah, the bait, the TP comes through, wall straight down the middle, and it gives him free access to the point. The Amp Matrix on the left-hand approach. The damage comes through, but Assassin immediately taken out, and now the sound barrier. It's a complete overblow of the ultimates coming out. They're going to try and meet it, though. Jerry uses the Death Blossom. The sound barrier not able to keep him up alive long enough, and Onigod, he's just burning them down now with the beam. Letting it rip. 99% this point should be flipping over to them, and the overtime is going to start ticking. This might be the series here and now. A couple of players trying to reach it. Assassin just about gets onto the point, but pays for it with his life. The Coalescence as well, keeping him into it. Mag with the Supercharger. Is it going to be enough? They need to collect a kill, but Washington are struggling to find answers right now. Into the stalwart defense of the Paris Eternal. The Gravitic Flux comes up, but instantly met now with their own Immortality Field, keeping them alive just that much longer. And eventually, one by one, they will fall. The Washington Justice, they do not have the answer. They do not have the response for it. They are going to be falling here as just a couple of players are left standing, and the Paris Eternal are the ones to close out the series 3-0. Holy moly.
And look at the elation. Look at the elation on these guys' faces. That's their first big win over a decent top-tier team in the Overwatch League. They've delivered the first regular season loss to the Washington Justice. Wow. That was a close game, a rough game, multiple draws added into the middle of that. I was worried for them. I was scared it was going to slip through their fingers, but they clutch hold of it. What a performance. This is a rookie team that not many people had high expectations for. And honestly, when the elation and the euphoria of this win settle down, they'll realize it's still a long season left. But from what they've shown us here today, this team really can perform. They have a ceiling to them that is incredibly impressive.
Yeah, they really do. They truly, truly do. And when this team was being formed, obviously, a lot of people were down on them. In terms of the rankings, they were right down there at the bottom. But this team has never been short for talent. It's always been the biggest question, I think, about how quickly they could come up to scratch with some of the best OWL teams, and they've proven it here today. I mean, this was close, don't get me wrong. I mean, 2 draws in the series overall. It was back and forth between them, but besting the Washington Justice, delivering them their first loss, and getting another win. What an absurd performance. Let's take a look at the player of the match presented by Xfinity. And yeah, there's one player that comes to mind here. Of course, it was a whole team effort, but in terms of the one who was putting up the numbers, it was Naga. Playing the Echo overall, as well as the Reaper in the final moments. My word, what a performance.
And a lot of their strategies revolved around pocketing this guy as hard as they possibly could. I don't mean that in a negative sense. It was a fantastic idea for the Paris Eternal. Echo's on the up and up right now. She was already getting played a lot in the main melee, but the compositions that have been played currently offer so many opportunities for people to hard pocket their Echo players with the Ana, with the Mercy, even with the Break to some extent as well. And Naga was fantastic. When you have a strategy like that, where all of your team is revolving around empowering one player to be able to play their absolute best, they still have to deliver. Yes, they're being given the resources, and those resources were fantastic. The halts from Dan, the Hog play, the fantastic Ana play from Khan as well. But at the end of the day, Naga has to deliver, otherwise the Paris Eternal do not manage to get this victory.
Yeah, what an unreal performance. Statistically, look at that as well. I mean, the duplicate kills, the solo kills, all of it just pumping out immense amounts of damage, and pays off for them here with the win. And yeah, a second win now for Paris. That is not bad whatsoever. And these guys, I mean, again, just to hit home the, I suppose, expectations for this squad, everyone had them near enough the bottom. For the Washington Justice, everyone had them near enough the top. And I think it goes to show as well, this year at the Overwatch League is one of the most tightly contested between the teams that we've ever seen in 2021.
I definitely agree with that statement. And it's also the bottom level teams have still got all of the talent. It's just about finding that meta that clicks for them. And Paris, they look like they have a great grasp of it so far.
Certainly do. Let's take it down now to Danny, who I believe has an interview now with Elevotes. Take it away, Danny.
Brendan Sideshow, thank you very much. Everybody, welcome to the Game Break presented by Pringles. We're joined here now by Elevote from Paris Eternal. Elevote, Hello, how are you doing? Congratulations on your big win today.
Thank you very much. I'm doing fantastic right now.
Awesome. Well, I just want to start off this interview by just asking you, how were you guys able to defeat the Justice today? Did you feel like the new hero pool sort of helped you out in your victory today?
Yeah, honestly, most people kind of thought that we were going to be worse when hero pools came out. But in reality, we turned into an advantage for us. We are really, really good, and everyone's very flexible on our team. And our key to victory today was actually winning a COT round for once. We managed to do it twice today, so that just shows how much we've improved.
Right, I mean, and from your match from yesterday and coming into today, I feel like you guys definitely made a big improvement coming into today's match. My second question for you is, obviously you guys recently had a big roster change with Neptuno retiring and and Dridro taking his place. How has the new addition of Dridro helped out in your team?
I mean, Dridro's a fantastic player, and he was exactly what we were looking for when we had a missing piece. It's kind of unfortunate that Dridro is suffering from a bunch of internet issues, so he's not still at 100%, but we're still keeping on improving every single day, and we're doing better and better. So when Dridro finally gets everything sorted and we're all firing on all cylinders, we're gonna be very dangerous for any team.
Ooh, yeah, I'll be expecting a lot from you guys when Dridro has better internet connections. All right, my last question for you, Elibot, is going to be: you currently have the most D.Va remake kills in the Overwatch League. What do you think about the new D.Va remake change? Like, how does that change the dynamic of the game for you?
I mean, honestly, I love it. It's kind of a hit or miss. Sometimes you go way too aggressive and just die for it without remaking when you would have normally just played safe. It's just a fun little thing they added, and I really love it.
Do you feel like sometimes as a D.Va player, you sort of look for a chance to like do that D.Va remake kill, or? I mean,
it happened.
Because this is like sort of
both yesterday and today. Yes, both yesterday and today, I kind of fed a little bit because I went too aggressive and died for it. But hey, I think I have 2 kills right now with the remake, so we're gonna keep on fucking them up as the weeks come.
Hey, Hollywood, that's not feeding. That's looking for the chances, or right chances, right moments.
That is creating a play. I like it.
That is creating a play. Yep. Well, Hollywood, that is it for the interview. Thank you so much for your time, and again, congratulations on your win.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. All right, let's head back to the desk, everybody.
Thank you, Danny. Thank you, Elibot. And of course, congratulations to him and the entire team. Great second showing here in the June Joust. And yeah, let's discuss the game at hand. Paris Eternal, they were a little bit more experimental, but it did look like they're most comfortable and also competent when they're heading towards that double shield kind of composition reinforced.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta give credit to teams when they do this. We got a hero pool going on, you gotta experiment with the compositions and see what works for you. And Paris Eternal, we gave them credit yesterday because they were playing around with their compositions. We even saw some double off tank stuff. Well, today against the Washington Justice, they don't hesitate. They play a lot of double shield compositions. They even put down on some wrecking ball. And they just play what they think works, what makes sense for them, without much hesitation as to, well, what is reasonable. We need a main tank, like Winston has been meta for a long time. Like, no, just throw that out the window. We got a new hero pool going. And so the Paris Eternal, they decide to play a lot of double shield. It makes sense on a lot of these maps, of course. Like, it makes sense in the end, the compositions they're picking. But they're not hesitating, thinking too much about it. They're just going out there and having fun playing compositions that they think could work. So I love the experimentation from the Paris Eternal. It definitely threw the Washington Justice off guard, who, they try to play a lot of Mag Winston, and of course that is one of their go-to picks because Mag is such a good Winston player. But they're sort of stuck in the past a little bit, the main melee, and trying to make that work a little bit too much. And you can see the Paris Eternal, they definitely gave them a run for their money this match when they are able to